in my opinion, the greatest thing about Anchor is that you don't need a big budget. You don't need fancy equipment. Anchor gives you all the tools that allow you to record, edit, and produce a top quality podcast right from your phone or your computer. When we started out, we literally recorded to our phone for the first 50 episodes, and we never had a problem with it. We always felt like we got great quality, a great service, and it was easy to understand and easy to use. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and best of all, using Anchor, it is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, it's said that his New Year's resolution is to be arrested for indecent exposure only half as much in 2022. He's my co-host, he's Mr. Taylor.
I only got it out once, I only showed everyone.
Once is enough.
Don't go on the internet.
You can't go for a piddle up a side street anymore.
No, you can't.
That's what they say, is getting decent exposure.
Yeah, well, it would help if they actually put toilets
They didn't actually, I don't know, did you?
Hey, no.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy
2022. Another year comes and we'll soon be gone.
Well, welcome to the show. Whether it's a New Year's resolution to check out more podcasts this year, or you're a repeat offender, you're all welcome here for another episode. And will 2022 be better or another shit show? We just don't know.
It won't be a shit.
Well, we've had a few people say 2020 times 2 or 2020 part 2. It's like, well, part 2 was 2021, wasn't it? And it's like, well, is this the remake? That was the sequel. Yeah. This is the remake.
Probably,
it's like, we'll start in the year in a bit of a negative downward turn. Let's try and pick up the positivity pace.
Yeah, I hope everyone had a good time. Christmas and
Christmas
New
and New Year's. It feels good to be back.
It does, yes.
One thing is, people are speculating on what the year will bring. And we've had a lot of people kind of going back on the Nostradamus episode we posted, and for reasons and what he's got to say on the situation. Yeah. If you want to check it out, you can go over to the website.
We've got a back catalogue back there.
See there. Well, we've got the website. We've got the blog post as well as an episode. So worth checking. This week we've got an interesting show coming.
Oh yeah.
And it is kind of interesting in the sense that going forward in the new year, people are looking for alternative methods of kind of investing and kind of looking towards their futures financially, as well as kind of like what's going to happen and what's been happening. I mean, in parts of the world we've seen uprises in people just quitting the jobs because they've noticed there's more to life than menial working in fast food restaurants and whatnot. And it's been described as the Great Resign. For a lot of places. So, this is a good kind of episode to lead you into the new year, I think. And we're going to be joined by a special guest, Lawrence Rook. He's one of the leading hand analyzers. He's a hand analyst. He's had over 10 years experience in the field, but he's also the author of a book. The book he's going to be coming on the show to discuss this week. Your good Money, read. Your Mind. How open and skeptical thinking improves your life and can protect you from the pandemic wealth transfer.
That's
is the title to his book.
Yeah, and we had a really, really good conversation with him.
Well, that's coming up.
It is indeed.
Very shortly in the show. I can't speak tonight.
Wet your whistle, son. Wet your whistle.
I know, I do. I need some of that
liquid
nectar.
gold.
Liquid nectar.
Yeah. Coffee.
I love a bit of coffee. Well, we've also
got...
got...
common drug, that.
Probably. Yeah. Still, you make sure your beans are ethically sourced.
Yes.
You've got that little frog on on the jar.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So, like I say, all that's coming up in the show. As well as some other bits and pieces, NASA news, where we go. It's been a bit of a mad week.
It has.
With a week that's kind of, seen quite a few mad things in the first week.
Yeah. The end of the year and the beginning of the year, it's just been.
Yeah,
it's just one of them.
Firstly, I mean, I've got to say, because I mean, one thing I will say is, it was cruel the end of the year, man. Betty White. Yeah. Got taken away from us. If you don't know who she is, she was one of the. She was in the Golden Girls. New Year's Eve.
She?
Yeah. She passed away New Year's Eve.
Oh,
and I thought that was like, oh mate.
Was that the small one?
Yeah, the
funny one.
The funny one. Yeah. She's always in. I mean, I recently just rewatched all of My Name Is Earl, and she plays. Is it Griselda Wiesman? Like everyone calls her a witch. On the estate, and because she looks a bit alternative, but she plays. She's a character actress, comedian, she played loads of roles over her years. But I think she's mostly remembered for the Golden Girls,
or with not Arnie, with Stallone in Stop on Mama's Shoot. She got quite famous over that.
Was that the same woman?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Finger. I'm talking about
the small one out of the Golden Girls.
No, you're talking about a different Golden Girl.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Fingy's mum, Rose's mum. Or is it?
One of them's mum. Yeah. The small funny woman. Yeah.
Right. She passed away on New Year's Eve. We had a mad one, didn't we? We went out and started like kind of coming back from a New Year's celebration. All above board and not COVID restrictions.
Even though I wouldn't give a fuck anyway.
Is there any much COVID restrictions here at the moment in that respect?
I wouldn't say so.
Well, anyway, we were coming back and there was just police everywhere. So like even on the my road near where I live, it was like cordoned off. Police and all the rest of it, and helicopters, and it was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, and the car that passed me and nearly went through the line.
Still not found out what that is. What happened? But it was
because you had helicopters going around and that.
Helicopters overhead, like with the searchlight out.
And they said pigs can fly.
We've got we'll get into stuff like this in the news later. We get controversial.
Yes.
But other than that, I had a great Christmas. Did you have a nice Christmas? I know you were always with your New Year.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It was okay. It was pretty quiet actually. Picked up my nieces, dropped some here, then we had a look at about the James Webb Telescope.
Yes, because it went off on Christmas Day, didn't it? Yeah.
And then,
Interestingly, I'm interested to find out how many people, were... Because there was a lot of people I know who were like, had to stop Christmas plans and cancel Christmas plans because... they contracted COVID.
Yeah.
And, they were pretty much saying, it was quite mild.
Yeah.
And it was just like a flu.
Even
it was
the
out for a couple of days. And all that. But it did spoil the Christmas for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
As for a couple of years now.
It was kind of a thing of like, was there a lot of people there who had to do tests and then prove it? Because I did. I had to kind of go,
didn't you?
Yeah, here's a photo of my negative. Can I come for Christmas dinner, please?
Because I believe my mum did that as well. She had to do it. But here it was.
I think that's the norm now, isn't it? It's like you need to show your clean bill of health at the door. I think it's not the norm, and it shouldn't be the norm.
Yeah, exactly.
Because isn't that just a mild form of COVID passports that you've got to kind of declare your health?
The only thing you haven't put your name to it.
The fact that you can't come for Christmas dinner.
Yeah. And it's like it's ridiculous, and like
it's a very nice Christmas dinner I had.
Yeah.
By the way, it was worth sending the evidence.
Yeah.
I
think I had steak and chips.
Oh yeah, that's standard for you, isn't it?
It is for
Christmas
Christmas
Day. You don't do the traditional Christmas dinner.
Nah.
I think some people do, some people don't. It's what you fancy and I think since Christmas is a celebration, you shouldn't be forced to eat something
exactly. You
just
have
because
this
it's
turkey,
traditional.
I'm going to shove it down your throat.
It's like, well, if you want to go, I'm having a steak and chips or something equally delicious, then
that's it.
And
it's like
it's your choice.
Yes.
At the end of the day, isn't it?
What would I do if I was a vegetarian? It wouldn't
Well,
be, would
you'd have something shaped
up
like
one.
a turkey.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or
So
some
true.
tofu in turkey form. It's just like eating real turkey.
I understand it, but I just don't get it. You know what I mean? I just don't get the.
I don't get
the
it.
food part of it. I don't get. If you want to eat a sausage, you're gonna eat meat.
Well, no, because the thing is, a sausage isn't a naturally shaped product, is it? And a patty isn't, a beef burger isn't, and I can kind of get those two, and they're the only two that I can get, right? But there's meat substitutes, or like, you can't believe this ain't chicken, and they make it look, smell, taste like chicken, or the beef version or ham version. It's like
making it look like
I've talked about
else.
this loads of times. I'm not going into it. It's like, how far can you take it where it's like we're all eating, it looks like a cow and it smells like a cow, but is it a cow? Is that a cow?
I want a cow.
I want a real cow.
I want to bite my choppers into the fucker.
Well, other than that, Christmas was all right.
Yeah,
pretty nice.
It's good. I
say other than that, but we've been away for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So hope Red Wall Radio didn't miss us too much, but we'll be available on there this week from 9 p.m. on Thursdays. It's all good.
Are indeed.
So tune in over there and show the support. Play some really good music, and they've got a right selection, really good online radio station.
They have.
And that's it. Anything else you've been up to this week that you want to get into, or do you want to? I
watched a JFK.
A JFK.
Kind of basically they did a survey of Americans and asked like certain questions to see what their response would be now to what it was back then.
Yeah.
Because back then, was it a conspiracy? It was only 30%. But over now, it's like, was it 79%, something like that?
Yeah, well, they kind of blame millennials and people for being, because I was reading an article before, and it was like, how come all these millennials suddenly believe? And it's like, it's not just millennials. It's been people saying this for fucking years, mate.
If you answer the question...
Is it because all these youth have kind of been born into a world where we've got stuff like the internet, we've seen the progression of that, but it's they're born into a world of almost magic.
Yeah,
exactly. Where if they go, how does this work, Dad? They go, I don't know. He fucking just does. It's magic. Or whatever. These kids have got all this stuff ahead of them. They're more woke, if you like. They can Google stuff for the barroom debate that we all used to have, and kind of like, have a chat about these sort of questions and then debate it. Are dead, because you can just Google stuff, and the kids have got these devices where if there's anything they want to know,
they just have to press a button and it's there.
And it's like, more often than not, these kids know more about the technology than the parents. So it's like, not to say that they're not a big percentage, but there's people who have been woke to stuff that's gone on, and I think it's these more researching tools available to people now.
Exactly. And
more
people
to get off
are going,
that line. And plus, it's like turning to religion for the answers.
Did it work?
I don't think people do it anymore. I mean, it's like more people will start looking for alternate answers and alternate reasons for why things are and why things have happened. So it's not a case of that. It's just that the resources and the sort of the, how would you put it, the institutions that are available to us now, I don't see as working, right? So I wouldn't turn to any of them to say, well, can you give me the answers? Because if you had them, it'd be common knowledge. And what I mean? If you're so fucking tight to keep the answers to yourselves, then are you a religion worth following?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're being selfish by keeping that secret. So there are no answers. They've got no answers.
I had this kind of thing with the insurers where...
I kept having me an insurance company.
Yeah, and like the... it was just... I totally agree with what you're saying there, with the way the system is hiding things away. Because if you... Like, I wanted to do something on my insurance, so I went online like it told me to go on. Now, if I spoke to someone face to face, wait, what, 2 minutes?
Yeah,
I could
you
have
can
got
get
the
the
answer,
answer. Yeah,
and I wouldn't
exactly.
be wasting
They
their
make it
time.
difficult
They'd be
for you,
even
don't
making
they?
money by me ringing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, not necessarily,
Well,
because
yeah.
as a customer, I expect a company to have a free phone number that
Yeah,
I
but
can contact them if
majority don't, though.
necessary.
Yeah, only certain ones that have to, like governmental, you have to have a free one for
But yeah,
this
they go,
one and this.
they've got them bots now on the websites for customer services, haven't they, where they'll go, you're talking to Sandy, I'm a bot.
Yeah.
But if you type in your question, we'll give you a pre-automatic
Answer.
response.
Yeah.
And if we can't help, we'll direct you to a help page.
Basically, they've shoved it on the troubleshooter and gone, right, let the computer do the rest of that. Where you need someone, and it's a lot faster.
No, it is faster to speak to somebody because you can get your point
across. You can ask a
across.
question and get the answer.
It cuts out emotion because you could have two customers who are ringing. One's like not on the levels, trying to dupe the company in some way, and then you've got a customer who's legitimately maybe facing hard times and they need to kind of defer the bill or kind of put a hold on the bill or something for those nature. But you can have a conversation with somebody and get an accurate reading and say, you know what, I feel for this person, I believe him, there's empathy there, and you can kind of get a better customer service experience, whereas the other hand is cold. Obviously, it's
cold
like you're playing into the scammer's hands by just having these sort of cold, calculated algorithms doing your business for you, because there's no one there to moderate those human interactions. Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of like paperwork on this side and shiny things on the other side, and it's like you're getting pointed to the shiny thing.
Well,
like all you want to do is go over there and write something out.
The paperwork aspect of any job is the tedious bit, but when it comes to these certain important roles in society and stuff, that the paperwork needs to be done, and that's like police, fucking fire, ambulance, all your important key roles, that council stuff, anything that's related to the well-being of your citizens, the paperwork needs to be done. But we've all heard stories where police will go, oh well, I can't really, I'll kind of pretend I didn't hear that because I can't be arsed with the paperwork.
Yeah, a lot
do you know
of them,
what I mean?
Yeah, because they're there. They've when was it?
That's a level of paperwork I expect to be done. Do you know what I mean?
They exchanged it for they have to have a certain amount of arrests to keep the job for the next year. And it's like, hold on, so you're actually putting quotas on the officers to go out there and purposely trap people.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble for incitement or anything
No.
Well, it's just going on because basically we've got a story coming up in the show, which is basically like that, isn't it? It's like you put an ad on Facebook or something and you're getting arrested. But I say fucking hell. We'll go into stuff. We've got loads coming up.
I've got loads.
Anyway, right.
We'll go into that in a bit.
This episode is brought to you in part by Audible.
Oh, yeah.
An Audible free trial is a great way for new customers to try audiobooks and make the most of every moment. Their trial, you can get a free audiobook of your choice. Prime members get 2.
Oh.
You can choose from a wide selection from new releases, sci-fi, romance, mysteries, classics, and more. After 30 days, you will receive 1 book every month for the price of $7.99, which is renew automatically. But you can cancel any time. Download and listen to the world's best storytelling. Enjoy audiobook, original series, podcasts, and more from the free app. Get the most out of every day. Listen to some audiobooks.
Famous people as well.
So
listen to famous people.
Yeah, totally. This week I think I was looking actually to see if Lawrence's book was on Audible. I couldn't find it, but not to say it won't be. But
if we find
check it
out.
If you check it out, and if you wanted that book as I'll put a link to Lawrence Rook's book.
Yes,
in the description anyway.
Click that link and you can go straight to it.
But we've also returning customers to Audible. Can get 3 months for just 99p.
Oh, that's a bargain.
And if you're a Prime member as well, that's like
that's $6, isn't it?
Well, it's $8.
It's
two a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then is that right? Two
a week for 3 months.
No, 3 months. We do this every. No, it's 2 a month.
Yeah,
for 3 months, so it is 6.
Yeah,
right?
I thought it was right. I thought it was loony.
We do this every time because we're crap at maths.
Well, I've got D in GCSE.
Well, it's like that. My teacher always used to tell me off and say, do your maths, because what did you know, when we'd be there with the calculator and he'd say, put the calculator down because you know you're cheating.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, no, it's not. It's calculator. We go, you won't all be walking around with calculators in your pockets when you're in the future.
Well, and we are, yeah. Yeah, but you don't really need calculators these days. Have you seen the questions that they ask for maths for kids now? It's like totally changed. It's like,
would we pass?
No. I don't even know your math status, and I say no. You ain't gonna pass.
We might have to do this.
Yeah,
just
we might
to
have
sit
to
me and Taylor math off to see.
Yeah, that's a good
like
idea.
11 plus.
Yeah,
11 plus math.
I'll tell you right now, I'll fail. I'll probably get
we'll do it. I'll find it and we'll do it. I'll try not to look at it, but if you know.
Yeah, and we'll post the results on our website.
Yeah, we'll post the results.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
So we'll find a test. Well, joining us on the show, we've got a really interesting guest today. He's here. He's got a very interesting background in alternative health and alternative wellness. But today he's here to talk about something a little bit different. Lawrence Rook is joining us on the show to talk about the financial sector and how it's kind of changed and been affected by the COVID pandemic. Welcome to the show, Lawrence.
Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been a really pleasure to have you on. I said this to you earlier, but I mean, in terms of looking at your website and stuff, you've kind of got this kind of really interesting background. And then when Taylor said you wanted to come and talk about finance, I was like, but the guy does so much cool stuff. I mean, everyone should go and check out his website. Is it lawrencerook.com?
.com.
Check it out.
lawrencerook.com.
I've been blown away by all the recommendations that you've got and such positive feedback. I mean, how did you end up, getting into the financial side and kind of attributing this your skills in that forum?
Yeah. So briefly, just to inform your listeners, I'm a chirologist, which is somebody who studies people's hands in relation to psychology, and I've also got a degree in Chinese medicine. So my background is entirely in people's well-being, health, alternative health, and medicine, and things like this. But when COVID all started to happen, and I started to look at alternative kind of news sources and started to look at the research of things and what was going on, it became very clear to me that it was quite a layered and very complex situation unfolding. And I started to look into the financial aspect of this. And what I found was that so much could be explained from a financial perspective. And looking at COVID from a monetary lens really started to make sense of all these policy changes that we were seeing. And going deeper into it and understanding more about how our financial system works, the way our fiat currency is designed, and the way in which people are working for money, and just the whole system, it really linked into people's well-being, because I think people's wealth very much relates to their psychological and emotional well-being. And if wealth is being kind of systematically taken away and eroded from people, well, what kind of effect does that have on a society, on people's well-being, and on everything? And this is what I'm really concerned about at the moment. And I wrote this book, Your Money, Your Mind, to explain to people in really simple terms how the financial system works, who's benefiting from it, and how you can choose to be involved with it or step out of it. And if you step out of it, you can really empower yourself.
So when you say step out of it, how do you mean? I mean, I know people are moving towards like cryptocurrencies and alternative ways of paying. Would you say that was a step in the right direction in terms of people getting away from the current monetary system?
And learning these new skills for the new monetary system.
Because it's really weird to think about, because I think a lot of people, again, we were discussing this earlier about people not understanding it, so they don't want to change the way they do it. And
it's a scary
but
thing,
then that kind of benefits the 1%, the people who are at the top, who, you've got everything and are not willing to kind of spread it out and, try and make a difference with the money. They just rather fritter it away on stupid projects. And,
They've been using their dirty tricks for.
I think I had a friend who actually just really it shocks me that people don't actually know how the financial system works from a really basic level. So even just the creation and distribution of wealth.
Yep.
I had a friend that turned around and say, the government can just print more money. And that made me laugh so much because I was saying, well, it's where do you think they just print it up and they make it themselves? They have to go to the bank and ask the bank to borrow them money a lot of the time. So if that bank was to say, not today, we can't accommodate, we can't give you this loan or whatever, who's got the real power? Is it the governments or is it the banks who are, paying and funding government projects and government work, or in the case of the furlough scheme, if they were to turn around and say, sorry, we can't afford to bail you out in this capacity, then...
Well, I think they'd have to, because if they didn't, their whole system would have collapsed. If we would have turned around and gone, right, we're not bailing you out, the whole system would collapse, the whole banking system. But the problem is, we are so joined to the hip to the banking system that we would have collapsed too, and that's why
this is how
it was a have to.
But this is that infrastructure is still there, and I think that's the problem, because rather than moving away from, people are scared to move away from it because they know where they kind of stand with it, and they're scared of losing that little bit they've got.
That's where Bitcoin and that come in, because they start.
But not everybody knows what they're doing with Bitcoin. I mean, where do you stand with Bitcoin, Lawrence?
Stay with that.
Yeah, so I mean, let me just unpack a little bit of what you guys are saying there, because I think you're spot on. So basically, the central banks in every country do have the power to print money. And this is a really, really important concept for people to understand, because what it's analogous to is, I say it's like playing Monopoly with 5 people, but one of them is able to pull money whenever they want from the bank. Now, what would happen in that situation is eventually that person would end up picking up all the properties because they're able to outbid everyone. Yeah. And eventually everyone else's money gets worth less and less and less because he's getting more and more and more.
Every time you print.
And that's exactly the same as what's going on now. And what's happened since COVID specifically is that level of money printing has gone off the charts. Yeah. And in my book, I've got a couple of graphs which show how it literally is going off the graph. And for example, in the first year of the pandemic, about 30% of all America's money was printed into existence that year.
Yep.
So they increased the entire monetary supply. But that money didn't go to the population.
No.
It goes to private corporations, private banks, it goes to government, as you say. And then what they do is then they go and buy up all the assets, all the properties and everything whilst everyone else is in lockdown. So people get locked down, their businesses get shut down, and then the central banks print money, and then the big businesses go in and they buy all the little man's stuff. Yeah. And this is how the wealth transfer starts. And going to what you're saying about Bitcoin, people then, if they want to opt out of the system, they want to start thinking about whether they want to be holding pounds, dollars, euros, or money that's not affected by this. And money potentially that isn't affected by this, I would speculate as being gold, historically, silver, historically, and then Bitcoin, which is kind of new money.
Yeah. You see, I've kind of been saying this recently. I mean, in terms of now, Bitcoin's new, and I'm a bit wary. I don't know exactly, all the ins and outs about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and there seems to be a lot of new coins coming on the market, and they're all worth different values. So, to be kind of, and then, is it going to be a case of like, when you get these kind of, credit cards where you go into a shop and they say, sorry, we don't accept that credit card. Is it going to be the same situation with your Bitcoin? Will some shops accept certain coins and not others?
Well, no, because if you pay in pounds, then you'll get pounds back.
Now, I've been saying this for months to you about, gold and silver, it's historically the one to kind of buy up and keep it. I think if you're kind of trying to get out of the system and you don't want to keep your value in banks or keep your money in banks or keep it under the mattress in dollar bills or pound notes, then it's gold, isn't it?
Yeah, but got a lot of gold now is future gold, so it's worth fuck all really until someone finds it.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
Because there are a
you've
lot
heard
of
of future gold, haven't
operations.
you?
Future gold?
Which is
Yeah,
certificated,
so
basically.
with gold, I mean, this is a bit specific, but
Hmm.
generally speaking, if you're holding physical gold, that's where you want to be.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
if you're buying gold in terms of what's known as an ETF, or you're buying it in terms of a
Through
futures
stock
contract or
market,
something,
if you like, if you're buying it through the stock market as a
yeah, the
commodity,
problem is with that is that if everything ended up being a little bit apocalyptic or there was a huge crash,
Mm.
I think there's estimated about 1% of those futures golds are actually backed by physical,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
means that if
Yeah.
there was a bit of a crash,
Then it's
you
worth nothing.
haven't got anything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's a
But wouldn't
worthless
that
bit
be
of
the
paper.
same in terms of like your Bitcoin or your NFTs or anything like that? If the internet went out tomorrow, they'd be in the same boat. I've been saying this
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks about these.
Yeah.
That's why you should spread it around.
Yeah.
We're
This is
essentially
what you gotta
an
think about.
online content creator, and if this was the end of the internet, then even if we were these big boys like your PewDiePie and your Mr. Beast who rely on that as an income, because that's how they make their money. If the system went down, the internet went down, they've lost the whole business basically. Do you know what I mean? And unless you've got it backed up, your Bitcoin or you forget your password or whatever,
Well, you're buggered.
potentially it's useless.
Yeah, well, that's where you don't forget it, and it's a big speculation, basically. But you should do it on. You shouldn't just be doing it on like the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. You should be doing it in all the forms, as in a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, a little bit of Bitcoin. Then your estimations will work out. At least you're going to have something out of it, at 1/3 at least.
So just going back to sorry, I mean, what was you about to say then? Sorry, Lawrence.
No, I was just going to say, like, this is the kind of things that people need to be asking questions about, and these are the right conversations to have, because I think so often in life people outsource to an expert, and I think humans in general and our kind of society gets ourselves in an issue because we don't ask important questions, and we trust people in authority, and we trust the doctor.
Yeah, exactly. If the government or anyone else says, the scientists or whoever says that this is correct, then you do, don't you? You've got to kind of put you trust in the authorities.
But the betting on the Bitcoin and that is that you can put £1 in and you could walk away in a couple of years' time with a couple of mil.
But that's a temptation as well. But this is the thing, though. I mean, it's everyone keeps saying that this with this Bitcoin that it's owned by the people, but you're paying for it with pounds sterling or euros or dollars or whatever. On a market, or maybe if that's just for the company, or if you're buying Bitcoin, ridiculous prices, you're still paying for it. Anyway.
Yeah, so let me explain that, because that's a really important point you're making there, Gaz. So when people say Bitcoin is for the people, and if somebody says gold is for the people, the reason they're saying that is because it's not controlled by a central bank.
That's it. Yeah.
A central bank cannot print gold. A central bank cannot print Bitcoin. So this is the separation. And what gold, silver, and Bitcoin do is they separate the money from the people, and the people and the money from the state.
Yeah.
And this is the key concept, because if somebody says, right, I don't want my money in the bank, so I'm going to take out loads of pound notes and I'm going to put them all under my mattress. Well, the problem is with that is that if the bank are printing loads of money,
then the
it means
value
that
goes down.
inflation is increasing, which means that their money power is going down. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've got a graph in my book that shows this, since 1900, it has lost 99.7% of its purchasing power, which means that if you were holding £100 and you've held it for 20 years, it's just losing money.
Yeah.
So what you want to be doing and thinking about is what is rare and what isn't going to lose its value over time.
Well, gold's only going up, isn't it?
Gold and silver.
Gold's going up. I mean, I think gold at the moment is the highest it's ever been. I think, especially when COVID hit as well, because I mean, to be a gold miner during the pandemic was absolute bliss, because I think a lot of them rely on they have heavy fuel costs, and as we know, the fuel prices dropped at the start of COVID, and which meant that they were able to run for more lengths of time, and actually
cheaper fuel buying bulk.
they were recovering more gold, which was selling at a higher price. So with the fuel costs low and the gold price is high, there's a lot more kind of a very good year for a lot of gold miners, I believe.
Yeah, and
been good,
silver
isn't
be
it?
next. Silver and copper.
Well, the thing is as well with it is it's funny because gold has got such a bad reputation within general economics. So people who go through traditional mainstream economics and things, they're generally told gold is a bit of a waste of time. It's an ancient relic, and it's not seen as being something that's really that valuable in a modern economy. And that's not what central banks are doing with their actions, and it's not what big serious nations are doing. So China is accumulating loads of gold. Russia is accumulating loads of gold.
I think I read a statistic
Singapore
saying
accumulating gold. All these countries.
China apparently the second biggest gold producing country.
Yeah, go on.
And they don't have any gold.
Yes,
China, but the second most gold producing country in the world, and they don't even have any naturally. So
and we like to give it away for scot-free near enough. Gordon Brown does.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, and they import loads. So China import loads of gold too. Yeah.
Can I just ask? So, what was the biggest thing? I mean, when you were looking into this initially, I mean, what was the thing that was that aha moment where you just felt like I need to get this information out because you mentioned earlier about how it's affected the economy and specifically through COVID. Yeah. Was it something that you saw happening in front of you, or was it kind of like just something that you noticed and came across, tripped over it?
I mean, I started researching it because I got interested in what was going on economically at the time, and because I did start getting interested in the philosophy and the politics of Bitcoin and this. The aha moment and the thing that compelled me to write this was I have always been an alternative thinker. I've always been outside of the box. I've been in alternative circles and looking at information in alternative ways, but I've never looked at money in an alternative way. And for me, this was like, oh my goodness, all these people who are like-minded, we need to be benefiting from this and taking our power back, because when your money's in the bank, they're loaning it out to government. Government are spending it, and you're financing government, and you're financing huge corporations, you're financing deforestation, whatever it is, when your money's in the bank. Because when your money's in the bank, it's no longer yours. Yeah. It becomes the bank's, and legally it's theirs.
Yeah.
And if there's a run on the bank, you lose everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's a financial crisis and your money's in the bank, you lose everything.
Yeah, the right.
And all of a sudden, it's like,
why there was queues round
if everyone. Yeah, this is it.
Remember
and if
that.
Everyone took some of their money out of the bank, put it in
money.
gold and silver, then the power is now with the people. It's with the population.
And
whoever has the gold historically has the power.
Yeah, exactly. Because what the government's
and people bring it back to them.
Going to do come to the people and say we need money to run the country.
No, but they might do what America did in 1933 when they turned around and told everyone that they had to give their gold and silver, and if they didn't, they'd get a £10,000 fine and a 10-year jail sentence as well.
Very true. Yeah, it's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But that's because gold is so valuable.
Yeah.
And they don't want a population owning gold. Essentially, they would rather have people having fiat currency, and fiat means by decree. That's what it means. Yeah, and the fiat currency that everyone has in their pocket is intrinsically worthless.
Yeah.
Because it's got no actual value. Yeah, it's only got value because the government tell you it's got value and they order you to use it.
Yeah.
Well, it's what everybody agrees it's worth, isn't it? So if they say this is the new £20 note, then it's accepted. So, but again, this comes back down to just how it is and how it's always been, and people don't really want to change it. I mean, even in terms of cryptic, what am I saying? Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
I mean, would you argue that, again, during the pandemic, they were kind of pushing everybody to go contactless with payments and stuff like that? I mean, in terms of physical currency, do you think that's being phased out anyway? Do you think the kind of... I'd argue that every transaction you make with your bank card or with your iPhone or your Apple Pay is a crypto transaction, because it's just a movement of
you can understand
ones and zeros.
Yeah. It's a digital transaction. It doesn't work on cryptography in the same way, but it's certainly a digital transaction. And I think where it's definitely going is those in power, they want to have complete surveillance over all transactions.
Yeah.
And they want to monitor the population. And this will be done through taking away cash and installing their own central bank digital currencies, which will be like basically cryptocurrency, but run by the central bank.
Yeah.
Right,
Now,
okay.
the question is, when central bank digital currency comes in, what do you want to be holding? Do you want to be holding central bank digital currency, or do you want to have a bit of gold, a bit of silver, and a bit of Bitcoin, which means that you can be out of the system?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it means that you can be independent.
Well, at the end of the day, it's like, you when you, like you've just said there about being under surveillance, you're being, even now with your Tesco club card, you can go into the supermarket and they know exactly, there's a record of every purchase you've made, which it entitles them or is able to market certain products at you in a better way, or, they use the information. It's data that they kind of take advantage of. In the same respect, if you the monitoring all your transactions, there are certain things that you want to do in life where you don't want to have it on your financial record potentially, like, and not having a little bit of gold and silver.
And bartering.
Bartering, off the books.
Going to be illegal in this country very soon. It's going
I sound dodgy as anything now.
Common,
do you know what I mean?
Wrong.
But,
we live on bargaining basically. If you think about it, if you took away the supermarkets,
it makes
and stuff
total
like that,
sense to me actually, because like you say, I mean, it's
they want the tax.
If you're in a situation where you want to live outside the system and all you've got is free trade, and you've got a service that we can kind of swap services, but that might go so far, but at some point you're going to be like, well, you paint fences and my fence was painted last week. There's nothing you can do for me that's going to make me want to trade with you, because your services are, you've done them. I don't need you. So having these alternative currencies like gold and silver and, Bitcoin does make sense, because you're able to still have a currency, still be able to operate in a financial way, but without all this lack of skills being able to trade off.
Well, I heard of a story today, in fact, about a woman who sold a painting to someone, and then she got a letter a couple of days later saying, take your money out of the bank by this date. If you don't, it's going to be shut down and held. So she's like, what the hell's going on with this? Now, because it was a transaction, it wasn't like a normal transaction, they put her under a thing called a CFAS, which is CIFES, which is an organisation which, if you fraud, they actually put you on this list. All your bank accounts and pieces like that actually close all your accounts down, and they made the mistake. It was a mistake.
Was it because that she'd had a large sum of money going into her account?
Yeah, basically. It was like when I got made redundant and I had a load of money put in my account. Next thing, I'm getting a message from my bank saying, we want to know if you're a taxpayer in this country. I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? You should know why I've actually received this money.
It's
and
like, wait a minute.
I actually refused to tell them.
You're coming a bit above your station, aren't you?
But then a second letter come, so I ended up ringing them up and asking them why, and they said, Customs and Excise need to know my details on it. So I thought, you know what, I'll play along this time, but I'm not going to do it again. If they ask me again, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to see where it throws me, because it shouldn't throw me anywhere. But
You've got the cases in Australia, Northern Australia, where people who aren't complying with vaccine mandates and stuff are having fines being taken directly from their bank.
Yeah. Really?
$5,000 being taken from their bank.
Yeah, because I think certain, in this country, I think there's a certain, if you don't pay your council tax, or these other
Yeah, even though there's a law that doesn't say we have to pay
it. They're able to just take it out of your bank or take it out of your wages. Yeah. And it's like, wow, that's really harsh.
Yeah, but there is some laws around it. It's like, because if they take the stuff from your wages straight away, without your permission, they can actually be done for it.
But, I mean, to be kind of fined for something that you don't believe in, and then, at least if you were fined and you could kind of contest it and say, no, I'm not paying that, take me to court.
Fines,
but for them to just take it straight out of your account, that's
well, yeah,
kind of
that's
criminal,
the only problem. And if we all go digital, then we're all in trouble.
So where do you see this going? I mean, the way the system is at the moment, it does feel we're in a bit of a dark ages, in a lot of ways.
Power grabbing, man.
It's almost like that unsure. Everyone's unsure. We're at the dawn of something in a new way. We've got. It's almost at crossroads, isn't it? Because, like you say, because we can kind of take this new road, which takes us down the alternative method, and if enough people get behind it,
but the system.
Then that's a new system. I mean, you can live by that system if you want. But it's having an option. So, if you're kind of sick of operating within the confines and being tracked and monitored and having all your groceries spied upon and, being kind of a slave to that system, then
Big brother, man.
Then you can crack on with it, But if there's an alternative,
then you should be able to have that choice to have that alternative, that you shouldn't use the methods that they want you to use. Because there's actually, you'll find in the next couple of days and onwards that there's not going to be, in normal publishing of newspapers and news, you're not going to find a lot about the economy being bad, because actually Biden went and had a meeting with the papers and that to try and get them to actually calm down and say, like, well, stop frightening people, which in a case is right. Yeah, it is right, but you should tell the truth about what's going on. And he's going to be hiding a lot on what's going to be going on to what's actually going on.
I mean,
now.
In terms of what's going on economically, the nuts and bolts of it is that since COVID has happened, to prop up the economy, they've been printing trillions of dollars. Now, in 2008, to save basically the entire world, to save the entire financial system, they printed $800 billion.
Wow.
And that's
never been paid off, that, by the way.
Since COVID, they've printed 5 trillion.
Yeah.
So
does that include the 3 trillion that's just been added on?
Printed since COVID, as what happened in the 2008 financial crisis, and what that means is that currency is becoming less and less valuable.
Of course.
Because of course, for something to be valuable, it needs to be rare.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a wad of cash, but then there's somebody over there at a money printer and they're just printing out loads of cash, all of a sudden your cash becomes worthless.
Yeah.
And this is what's really important for people to understand. They're working, they're giving their life away, they're giving their time, their energy for working for money.
Yeah.
But that money is being printed over there.
Yeah.
And someone else, the money printer, is just making more and more and more of it, whilst we are working harder and harder and harder to try and earn it. And it's a con.
And
because we're working for something that's becoming less and less valuable, which is why we're losing our time. And people are having to put more energy.
Yeah.
And it takes longer to buy a house. It takes longer to buy a car. It takes more money to pay your rent, everything.
Yeah. And I think people are starting to, cotton onto it. I think, but this is it. We're kind of led into this, sort of false sense of security, really, with this whole system, because, even if you're told that if you get a good education and you can go and get a good job, and then you do all that stuff, and you might get a good job, but
if you look at
really, if you look at the kind of the tax brackets and stuff, it's like, I know a lot of people who just kind of think, well, do you know what? It's not even worth me doing 5 days, because if I take a day off, then that's my tax.
Well, a lot of people are walking away from their jobs at the minute, and I think that's a really good thing. I think it needs to for that kind of stuff. It gives it more power to the people, so more people who are actually doing the job are going to actually get a little bit more money than they would have anyway.
Well, I think this is it though. But I mean, like you say, it's like even like the jobs that majority of people have, where they're just frontline workers and stuff. You know. They're the ones who are working 40 plus hours a week, and you know I don't understand, because it's like they're the ones who are getting paid minimum, you know, and
because more people paid minimum than they are maximum.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Yeah, that is the point. That is a really good point. They always go off minimum wage, you know. Oh well, it's competitive. It's better. It's just a little bit better than minimum wage. Yeah. Well, I've never gone for a job and they've said it's maximum wage.
And yet the minimum wage, the minimum payment is £24,000 per annum.
We don't believe in minimum wage here.
I've never had £24,000 in 1 year. How the fuck does that work? I don't know anyone who's had 24 grand in 1 year, and that's a usual.
Well.
So maximum wage, it's good, isn't it?
I know,
we should have that in. We should have maximum instead of minimum.
Seriously, because they do seem to focus on the minimum bit. So,
let me just quickly explain from another angle this thing about money printing as well. So what we look at historically is every fiat currency, and a fiat currency means a currency that's not backed by gold and silver.
Yeah.
And we don't have a currency that's backed by gold and silver.
Nope.
And the significance of that is that governments can then print as much money as they want because they don't have to back it with anything. Yeah. So it gives governments and central banks complete control of the monetary system, which is what they have now. And when they print money, it creates wealth redistribution because it taxes the poor and it transfers all the assets to those near the money printer.
Yeah.
And what happens in societies when this inflation starts to really get going is you get something called hyperinflation, which is a technical term. And when a country goes into hyperinflation, it means that the currency basically collapses. It becomes worthless. People don't want it. So you go around, you've got a huge wad of cash and you say, look, can I have these vegetables? But people don't want it because it's so worthless. And historically, this has happened many, many times. You know, we've had financial crises in Zimbabwe, which show this, in Venezuela, which show this.
Yeah.
And the question then becomes, we are now printing money at this kind of dangerous rate.
Deliberately
and
as well.
If we continue deliberately doing this, we'd head to hyperinflation.
Yeah.
And if hyperinflation comes, what do you want to be holding? Do you want your wealth to be in the bank, in fiat currency, or do you want it to be in silver? And it's interesting because when the financial crisis happened in Greece in 2012, I believe, people couldn't get access to the banks. The banks closed, so people lost all of their life savings, and the banks bailed them in. So they took their money and then spent it to get out of debt. So people lost everything, and they couldn't get money out. And what happened? Barter broke out. And who became king? The people with silver, because they were able to go to market and swap and trade and things. And this is what happens when currency collapses. Exactly the same in Argentina. So in Argentina, a huge currency crisis. 90% of the country is now in abject poverty. However, 10% of the current people aren't. And the 10% are the ones who had their wealth outside of the system.
Yeah.
Who had their wealth in gold, in silver, and other things.
You know, I mean, it's hard though, because I mean, even though that's a great solution, and you know, like if I'd like to be in that position, you know, if it all kind of collapsed, and I'd like to be the guy holding gold and silver, but you know, if your average kind of you know, household, I mean, how much gold and silver would you expect the average person to own nowadays?
Yeah, well, let me tell you. So a really famous case of hyperinflation was in the Weimar Republic in Germany, and after the war. And when they went into hyperinflation, there's famous pictures of people with wheelbarrows full of money.
Really?
And people left it outside the shop, And what they did was when they came back, someone had stolen the wheelbarrow, but they left all the money.
Why?
Because the wheelbarrow was worth more
than
money.
the money.
Yes.
Oh my days.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe I know about this story.
The point is that at a point in Germany in that time, 1 ounce of gold would have bought you an entire street worth of houses.
Right.
1 ounce.
Jeez.
And 1 ounce of gold now in the UK is about £1,300.
Yeah.
And that's 1 ounce of gold, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
But silver, anyone can buy a silver coin. It's 25 quid.
It's true that, isn't it?
And if you've got,
yeah. Because I mean, silver's still one of those metals. It doesn't get the, obviously gold. Everyone gives the prestige, but silver, it is cheap enough to kind of stock up on if you were looking to invest in a semi-precious metal that can be bartered. Silver's the one, I think. Yeah.
If you're doing silver as well, do silver and copper.
Oh, I knew you were going to say copper. Copper's actually a good shout.
Do you know the reason why, though?
Go on.
Because
don't leave us hanging.
Well, I had to. Because it's a byproduct from making copper. That's where you get a majority of your silver from.
What?
It's a byproduct of copper, of making copper.
Oh, no,
Yeah. So by doing that, when copper goes up, obviously silver's going to go up, copper's going to go up.
Right. Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I think it is silver. I'd say would be the one to invest in, because like you were saying, for a chunk of gold, it is quite expensive.
Yeah.
But you can pick up silver coins. So yeah.
Yeah, but then you do stuff like pawn shops and places like that. I buy a ring here, I buy a little thing here in there just to put away.
It's just the demands of this modern society, right? So on an average week, how much money do you think is spent? Say on an English city estate. You've got all these families, and they're all kind of buying the food shopping and all the. I mean, because you can look at it in terms of, like you were saying, these instances where they've gone back to barter, but I just can't see there being that much ready silver and gold to on an average estate in an average city to basically keep the economy going for the needs of people.
It won't hit the economy. The economy won't be going
anywhere. Well, no,
it's
not that economy, is it? But it's still trying to supply the needs of that's the population we have. The population we have is ridiculous compared. So how would that barter system work effectively with, for instance, London, where you've got a massive population and everybody still wants the things they need and want in life, or need for the dinners, or
they have to
buying
work
the
for
kids' trainers or whatever. It's all these things that you've got to think. And does that kind of mean
I
that?
I understand what you're saying, Gaz.
Could there be like trouble through that? Because again, it comes back down to the haves and have-nots. And if you're lucky enough to have a couple of bars of gold, then you can get what you want. But the guy who hasn't,
you've got more chance of actually getting mugged by the guy who hasn't.
Is he stupid for not thinking about it in advance? Or is he going to just take the guy who's gold who did think about it in advance?
Yeah, exactly. They're
it's kind of like with everything, though, isn't it? Because what about if somebody has thought about their health in advance, and then because of that, they don't go on a prescription drug, which would have been really detrimental to them and caused, a cycle of something that would have been worse. Knowledge is always beneficial if you use it correctly, and this is just knowledge. And if you understand how the money system works, then you can work with it, but use it to empower people as well. This is a thing. For every time someone takes money out of the bank and they put it into gold, they take money from the system and they put it in their hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it becomes out of the system. It's theirs.
And don't forget, we'll be always in debt to a bank, because for printing that pound note costs you a penny. There's your debt straight away, and you will never get rid of that debt. So that debt will never go, and it keeps getting higher and higher.
Like Lawrence has just said there, I mean, every time you invest your money in gold, silver, Bitcoin, an alternative method, then you're taking it away from the system.
Totally.
And I mean, even if you're one of those people who, put £10, £20 a month away in a savings account, then that savings account, like we discussed earlier, is basically not really your money. They're just holding it for you. And if you check your online banking, it might say you've got numbers in your account, but is it truly your money?
Look at them two.
Why
two
not take
banks
that
in America.
£20 a month and buy a silver coin?
Two companies, banks in
careful,
America, was actually charging you for actually having the money in their bank.
I've got an account like that.
that one is starting to come over here.
This is it. So that's it. So what that is that's the negative interest rates.
Yeah.
So when you have money in a savings account, what's the interest on that? I mean, maybe it's 0.2% or something. It's very low. Maybe maybe 5.5% if you're really lucky.
Yeah.
But the problem is inflation in the UK or in the US is around 5%.
Yeah.
So that means
nothing.
That means your money's actually going down in value.
Yeah.
Because you've got the rate of inflation plus take away your interest, and it's a negative number.
Yeah.
So
Someone's
by
got to
year,
pay the bill.
if you've got 10 grand in a savings account, it's losing 5% every year. If that's what inflation is. And I actually think inflation's a lot higher than that.
Yeah,
I think inflation's probably closer to 10, 15, 20%. So every year you're losing 10, 15, 20% of your value.
So buy an object and then the value of that object will more likely to go up than your money.
Well, just buy a load
Taylor.
of gold.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So I think like in that respect, I mean, like if you were Jeff Bezos and just inflation would be quite a hit, really, wouldn't it? I mean, but still no excuse.
Yeah, but he'd be probably getting dividends off a government or something. Because don't forget, governments, you got to treat them like a company because they are basically a big company that we own. We have massive shares in there, but they're doing their stuff on our behalf.
Can I ask, right, do you know why the financial sector is kind of exempt from being taxed in this country, in the UK? Because I mentioned something to you. Because
I haven't actually specifically heard of this. I mean, I think the way that the tax works is I think it's pretty criminal in terms of, you touched on it a second ago, Taylor. So when money's printed, so the way money's created is that a central bank will basically print it and create it, and then they sell it to the government in forms of bonds, and then so they swap it for bonds. But then on the money that they've printed, they charge interest.
Yes.
And that's where income tax comes from.
Yeah.
So specifically in America, income tax didn't exist until the Federal Reserve, which was the big central bank, came about in 1913. And so when the Federal Reserve prints money out of nothing, it sells it to the government, and they sell it to the government with interest.
Yes.
It's cheeky, man.
Out of money they've printed from nothing.
And we agreed
to
it.
The interest is paid with your taxes.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
where
crazy,
the cycle
isn't it?
continues, and it never stops.
That's why it's 245 trillion pounds in debt, the world.
Well, this is the thing, though, but like it's the financial service sector doesn't have to pay any tax for anything because obviously it's their money for a start, right? So, but there is an argument to say that, you know, if they were to be taxed, even a small 1%, 0.5%, you know, that would
Debts could be wiped out around the country.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah, and I mean, not only that, I mean, what would you prefer at the moment? Would you prefer that money coming in as aid and help for these families who have been struggling through a really difficult time over the last 2 years, especially with the pandemic? I'm interested to know. I mean, it's like he was saying about they're taking advantage, basically, aren't they, of a situation. So you touched on a topic earlier about when you would say with your monopoly analogy, which really made sense to me. But you said about them being locked while we were all locked down. They were out buying up properties and taking the business, or like buying up these businesses. What's that? Is that just to basically sell on and make a profit on, or what is it to kind of swallow it up into
and get rid of it or something?
I think it's centralizing power, Gaz. Yeah. I mean, I think the goal of the people that are in control of a lot of this is to centralize more and more and more power, so that essentially you end up with a very small proportion of elites who essentially own everything. and everyone else
rent.
lives in a rented society.
You were talking about this
has been
recently, and I can
said.
kind of see this happening, actually.
We all are doing it, sort of. Your mobile phone, you always rent your mobile out. You're renting your internet. You're renting TV.
But
you're renting.
Rent your internet. You don't own
services.
music anymore. You don't own DVDs.
Yeah.
Everything's rented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I mean, it's like when you look at land ownership, or I suppose as something like this, and I can kind of see where you're coming from now, because obviously a lot of people kind of passed away during the pandemic, which meant there was a lot of property, a lot of estates going up for either sale or for,
even the person's valuables, if they haven't gone
if
to
they
the
haven't got
family.
any next of kin, it
goes
kind
to
of
the
does
government.
revert back to the state, doesn't it? In some instances. So
they make billions a year off that. I'm telling you.
I mean, you can kind of understand why people are frustrated with this government, especially with all the rules that they imposed and then broke themselves, and the amount of people that die. I think the amount of people that died is one thing, but it's when they talk about it in such a way that's estimated figures. And that's okay. That's as long as no more than 20,000 die next month, we're all right. We're below the line, and that is still 20,000 too much, in my opinion. And when the government or the people in charge are using this as a cloak for other shady practices. It just knocks you sick, doesn't it? I mean, but in terms of taking advantage of the financial sector, I mean, I feel like there was always something going on there whilst the pandemic was, while we were all in lockdown, because it's the best opportunity, really, isn't it? And that's why I was saying to you earlier about what was it in particular that you saw that made you think,
that's a bit dodgy.
This is dodgy. They're up to something, and I want to kind of research it more to find out exactly what it is. Anything before we kind of wrap it up that you find that where do you think we're going?
Where's the crisis going to end?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what do you see next happening in the financial sector that's going to be a big impact on just the regular people of the UK?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what's going to happen is money is going to continually keep being printed. And that's going to mean that the money people have already is going to be worth less and less and less as more and more gets printed. And I'll give you one more little analogy here, or not even an analogy, a real event. So in Turkey, their lira has basically collapsed, and people in Turkey who are holding the lira have just basically lost all their value. And in the last 2 years, the money supply in lira has increased 400%.
Wow.
So the government has printed 4 times as much of its current currency supply, which means that it's just becoming worthless.
Yeah, it's just a piece of paper.
But in the US, over the same period, they've doubled their money supply. So the US has actually increased their money supply by 100%, which is a huge amount.
They're going to be,
and the way that's filtering into the economy is, prices of fuel and oil are skyrocketing, prices of food are going up, prices of lumber and wood was up 300% at one point, and the inflation that's really being seen in everyday prices is really hitting people hard. Just what I want to emphasize and try and get across to people is, when currency is being devalued by the minute, what do you want to be holding? And that's just kind of the question, and that's what I want to get people thinking about. And that's really what I wrote my book about, just to break it down, make it really simple, and to give some practical advice and look at these questions.
Well, it's kind of funny, isn't it, that just before Trump got kicked out of office, that he was actually going to bring the gold standard back onto the dollar. It was funny, that, wasn't it? That he got kicked out.
How could he do that, though, if they didn't have enough gold to back it up? I mean, like Lawrence was saying earlier about how it has no intrinsic value because it's not got backed up by anything. So how can you bring the gold standard back to a dollar?
What they have to do is So yeah, just quickly, it's really interesting this actually. So every time in history when a fiat currency has collapsed, and all fiat currencies in history have always collapsed because they always break down eventually because they're worth nothing. Every time a government has always had to reset it to something, and they always reset it to gold. And the reason they have to reset it to something is because the public lose faith in it. So the public go, we can't trust you. We can't trust this currency. Prove to us. And they go, okay, we'll reset it to gold, and everyone trusts gold. And then what happens is that the price of gold becomes so much more valuable because all of a sudden gold is now used as the base of currency. So at the moment, gold is worth about 1,300, but if gold became the reserve for the currency, it would be worth about 10,000, and that's just kind of like rough monetary estimates.
It'd be in a different place now if.
You see how when you say that, when Taylor said the gold standard, I automatically assume that would be, it's backed by the amount of gold that they've got, rather than it being the value.
It's printed on the note, though, isn't it? It's printed exactly what this value of this note is, and it says nothing. And even if you go to the Bank of England want to swap it
was a promise, wasn't it? It was a promise note at the first. I think it was at the Knights Templar. In fact, they'd basically, I think they'd they'd have, instead of moving gold on the travels, they'd say, well, you deposit us with deposit your gold here, and then when we get to the next place, we'll have it waiting for you. But it's obviously different gold. But
it's gold, the value to what it is.
Well, where can we find your book? Can you tell everybody where they can pick that up?
It's on all online bookstores. It's on my website. You can find it on Amazon, Book Depository, all those places online. It's called Your Money, Your Mind, and it talks about everything that we've discussed here, and also goes over Bitcoin, talks about gold and silver, where to buy these things, and which each one is good for. Why would you want to hold gold compared to silver, and what does Bitcoin do for you? And looking at the charts and what's been going on since COVID.
See, I'm a bit too I'm still a bit skeptical about Bitcoin at the moment. I could do with just bending his ear about it.
If you've got a little bit of money that you could put aside, you only have to put a little bit in. Like I said, this is the start of the valuation of it. It's basically like Google starting up again. Well, someone wants to invest in them. Oh, well, I put a tenner in there. Yeah, you might have 10 million now because of that tenner that you invested in.
I get where you're coming from.
You know what I mean? It's a high, but the rating of value of it coming back is very high. You know what I mean? For just a tenner.
Lawrence has made it kind of really easy for me to understand, in the sense that that it's an alternative method. I feel like in that respect. I think most people who have listened tonight will agree that when given the choice of being able to opt out of the system, maybe use an alternative currency when needed, or for for whatever situation,
put away for a rainy day, man.
Or if that was to collapse and we were forced to face a barter system again. Do you want to be the guy with literally not a penny to your name? You could have hundreds of thousands in the bank, but when it's not worth anything and you've got a barter with, what you've got to hand, where you're going to be? Is it worth investing in silver and gold coins potentially?
93% of money is not money. It's a computer currency, and trillions go through every day of the week. So basically that Bitcoin thing is that system, but brought into the public, and the public, it can't be messed around with. It's controlled in a way that it can't be messed around with.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lawrence, for coming on the show. Man. It's been a really interesting chat. I can't wait. In fact, we're going to have you on again, because you're actually a really fascinating guy, and I love the fact that I want to kind of discuss.
We'll get into the hands.
I want to discuss the hands at some point as well.
Yeah, so I have to show my hand and see how long
we'll do it.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you.
When am I going to get rich?
Thank you, Lawrence Rook.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lawrence, for coming on the show.
Cheers,
it's an absolute pleasure. And like I say, I wouldn't mind getting him back on for the hand analysis stuff, because, I mean, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes.
Well, Got more coming up in the show.
We have.
Oh yeah, before there is a link in the description to Lawrence's book as well. In the like I say in the description, and we'll be posting some links over on Twitter, and it'll be the book of the week.
It will indeed.
Week, suppose, over on the website.
Yep, and if you've got any questions,
you can tell I've been off for a couple of weeks, can't you? I'm just like,
too much beer, son.
No beer.
Not enough.
Don't drink beer.
I didn't actually. I only had one drink.
I had a beer. I won't lie. I did have a. I had a cup. I had a one bottle of beer on New Year's.
Yeah.
Which was a Desperado.
Ah, yeah.
And I also had some Prosecco at midnight.
Ooh, bit
getting
Prosecco.
Fancy.
Ooh, yeah, no, because I usually drinking and I was there going, no,
you've got to fucking drive.
Dropping kids up in the morning. No.
Oh, got to drop the kids at the pool. Yeah. Anyway, right, well, thanks again. Yes. If you want to be a guest on the show, send us an email if you've got interesting viewpoint or something's happened, a story or an experience that you want to share.
Some mystery.
Let us know. Send us an email. But we've got the news.
We have indeed,
and here it is. It's the news. Oh yeah, it's the first news of 2022, and I found this story. Yeah, right.
All right.
Getting straight in there. Straight in there, son.
Right in
there.
Balls deep.
Balls deep. Right, well, we were talking earlier about like kiddies knowing more about technology than the adults, and this is a story that totally proves it. As the governor of Missouri.
All right.
We've got a friend in Missouri, haven't we?
We have indeed.
Yeah, big shout out to Liz.
Lizzie.
Yeah, Liz. Missouri governor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still doesn't know how websites work.
What?
It reminds me of that IT Crowd episode, where she's like, he goes, "There's the internet. It's in the box.
In that box.
It's in that box.
Be careful
with
you
a
don't
flashing
drop
light
it
on it. Don't drop the internet."
And then it fell, and everyone screamed like hell. Oh no, the internet's dead.
Oh, she broke the internet.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, pardon me.
Corona?
No, just got a tickly cough. Well, it's because I've been talking for a long period of time. Not used to it now. So anyway, the governor, Mike Parsons, wanted journalists proposed for looking at website source code. So that's the headline, which is a bit thingy, but the gist of it is he doesn't know how
it works,
how the internet works. Yeah, which is just. No, I'm not poking fun because
there's a lot of people out there who
generally don't know what all this. Like I said earlier, it's magic.
Yeah.
You tell a kid goes, how does people had a hard enough time explaining how the TV works.
Well, you try and get a kid now
back in the day
to use an old landline phone. With a dial.
When you've got like a little box that can talk to you, how fucked up. Psychologically speaking, it's like, well, who was your nanny? It was a little box in the corner that I'd ask questions. Did you hear that, actually? Because there was a story about Alexa over Christmas.
Oh, right.
Where you can ask it challenges.
Right.
And you can say, Alexa, what a challenge? And it'd come up with a challenge for you, right? Like, how many M&Ms can you fit in your mouth? Just stupid challenges, right? But it draws quite heavily from the internet to kind of gather these challenges. One challenge basically directed a child to half plug a plug into the socket and then touch a pin with a penny.
No.
Amazon have sent out a fix for it. Said there was kind of like a problem with it, but
how many more
many more are there in the system is what I'm getting at, and are people purposely putting stuff out there to mess with the Alexa system?
I
mean, and it was lucky that there was a parent in the room when the challenge was issued, but it's like,
what if the parent wasn't there?
Exactly,
then the child
that's
would
the
have
point,
done it.
isn't it? So
possibly
technology. Is it too fast and furious?
Well, even
that Skynet, they're trying to fucking kill the kids.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, by using Alexas.
Companies have said from the best side of 2010 onwards that we are moving too fast with technology, and we do actually need to slow down, but if you learn something new on technology, you're going to patent it and send it out. So then technology isn't being controlled. So we need some kind of system.
Well, it's whether
controlling how far can that go. Plus,
there's more,
to stop environmental damage as well.
It's not a case. Well, yeah, because we've got a story coming up about the environmental impact of technology on a global, not even just a global scale, on a universal scale.
Yeah.
But it's to a point where technology, it shouldn't just be vetted for is it consumer safe, for the obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But should be is it consumer safe for
the environment?
The environment, well, not just even the psychological kind of impacts and the kind of there's more conditions linked to screen usage nowadays than there are. There ever have been.
Yeah.
I mean, there was kids who were naughty in my school, and there was kids who were had attention problems.
Yeah.
But the diagnosis of being, attention deficit or any of that had never even been
considered.
I mean, even the fucking concept of being dyslexic was only being just bandied around when I was in school.
Yeah.
So it was just you were simple or you were...
Yeah, exactly. You were the stupid kids go over there with the
stupid
lazy
class,
fuckers.
Or you were lazy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't
and
like
it was
you
like,
could... Every kid's the same and they can all be taught.
Exactly.
It's like, no.
Every kid's different.
But the fact is, it's like, are these conditions coming in more because of the technology that we use to nanny the kids? We're putting the kids in front of more screens because they'll shut up and watch fucking Peppa Pig for 4 hours straight.
It's making me think like
while mum and dad do the bits around the house, and I'm not judging anyone's parenting, but I mean, it's like what I'm judging is the big tech who are releasing stuff into the public, knowing that it's got social implications. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
totally.
this is the thing: is technology should be rated on a.
That's why they shouldn't rule their own rules.
Those types of kind of measures, as well as just the obvious. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
tech's in schools
if you know
now.
What I'm saying,
Tech's
you know
at
what I'm saying.
home.
I'm not going to keep going on.
You've got to go. You go to the shop. You use tech. You use tech like everywhere, you know what I mean? And even 10, 20 years ago.
Don't get me wrong, I love technology.
Yeah, I love technology.
I love gadgets.
But once you got it's dismissed.
It's like there's certain technology though, it's just unnecessary. So it's like when I go to the supermarket and I see people walking around with a little checkout machine. And they're beeping their own shopping, as in they're checking it out as they're going.
Yeah.
Time saver, I give you that. Yeah. But that technology is making a person in an industry where there is a lot of people had jobs in the industry. Full-time work, and now we need less checkout assistants because
this is why I never use a machine.
We've got people self-checking themselves out, but then also we've got self-checkout kiosks. And we've halved the amount, if not more, of people we need scanning your products.
So we need less
staff.
So the government can pay or go and get another job.
Warehouses that are using these they've got these sort of these robot carts that go around
Amazon
picking.
Are doing it,
Amazon are doing it at the moment. There's a few companies that are, and it's like, I mean, I know they say they took our jobs, but it is to the point where these certain technologies that are just, you're doing it because it's futuristic and it saves you money.
Saves them money.
Exactly. It's not that we need this technology.
Yeah.
It's that you're just doing it for those financial reasons.
And the prices don't go down. And if they do go down, they go down for a little bit, but they will soon back rise. So the quid's in either way. But we're the fools to actually accept it. But it's mind trickery.
Yes, mind,
you know what I mean?
Bamboozlement.
It's basically it's bamboozlement.
Bamboozlement. Yeah.
But when I was on about environmental, I meant stuff as well, like travelling the product from one place to another. It takes fuel. You need a road.
Well, this is it. It's like you'll have people who think
building,
they're being I'm eating an avocado or whatever, and it's like well, that avocado's not, that's healthier, but is it good for you and good for the planet? It's like what's the toss up? It's like, would you rather know that you're eating local sustainable food, or that you can have something a little bit exotic but its carbon footprint's bigger than yours.
Well, if you have it all the time, it's not it's not like a treat or like something special. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally get that.
Like everyone now has the capability of getting anything and anywhere. It just matters on the price, basically.
Yeah, because we're going way off topic, but there's a shop in Charlton. Like Charlton, Manchester, and they've just I've seen it in the paper because they pride themselves on being able to get everything that you could possibly want, from honey on the comb to all sorts, right? Like different flavoured Fantas that you can only get abroad.
Right.
Like, they got a bit of everything, but they call themselves like a world market or whatever. Yeah. And I kind of thought, well, that's a great idea, but it's like the carbon footprint of all the stock that you've amassed into one place in Charlton, is kind of like, how much are you charging extra because you've imported it, and the sustainability of that. If there was a border closed down or whatever.
Well, loads of stuff used to go to Spain for the people who used to live in England who went away, and in Spain, like you'd have like warehouses of English goods.
Funny we should talking about this, because then we've just found ourselves going back onto topic.
Congratulations!
Hey.
We're smart like that.
We're good like that. Well, I found this story which really relates to this, because apparently there's a potato shortage in Japan.
Yeah,
right.
There is,
so a potato shortage, you wouldn't think, or is it?
No.
That there was going to, ever be a potato shortage.
Well, changes of like that type, like one year there could be like 5,000 of them going there, and then another year 2.
Well, these U.S. freight, what are they called? Forwanda Flexport Inc. Will be helping sending 3 planes loaded full of potatoes to Japan, where there's a shortage of spuds caused by McDonald's.
McDonald's again. Environmental damage.
Meaning that there's a shortage of French fries, because that's basically what they turn them into.
Yeah.
So they've had to send over 3 747s loaded with potatoes to Japan. Honestly, not even joking. But on the flip side, I saw another article or another news story this week about the UK's potato crisis. Crisis isn't the word. We've got too many potatoes, if anything.
Oh, send them me. I love
Send them to Japan.
Yeah, send them to Japan.
Do you know what I'm saying, right? The potatoes in the UK, they've actually got this is one story or so I don't know if this is like nationwide, but this particular farm had a landfill where it just got rid of potatoes and it was almost overflowing, right? So
yeah, but was it because the markets are picking? Markets are picking. If like your carrot's spent, then we don't want it.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got a shortage in other parts of the world, why aren't these excess food items being sent other places? I mean, if you're going to spend money on carbon footprint and fucking flying stuff across the world, you're going to send a crate of tomatoes or avocados thousands of miles, then why not send all this excess potato we've got?
And if it's about money, take a little bag
of potatoes on everyone's doorstep
from what they
village.
Sent to charity, so they can get like tax write-offs, and put it into actually flying this stuff over. But it's going to depend on how fast we get it there as well, because produce
obviously
goes,
of course, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like
it's going to be a system of being able to get it across.
If straight away you've pulled them out of the ground and gone, we've got way too many potatoes, we know what our average sell is, we know what we sell normally, we know what we're going to have over, right, these are fresh still, get them in a shipping container, get them sent to a fucking third world country.
Well, not even that. What about vodka? Make some vodka then, man.
Make something that you can staple out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, where you can preserve it.
Yeah.
Do you know, vodka's actually a good
But
call.
then again, could it be for actual nutrients for the ground around that area?
No. Well, I could be, but like, here's another alternative, right? We covered this story a couple of months back.
Yeah.
About a whiskey distillery in Scotland who have come up with an alternate fuel.
Yes.
There you go. So there you go. Right. So obviously there's a byproduct of making whiskey, which is ethanol.
Yeah.
And they've derived a special fuel out of it, which means that you don't even have to kind of modify your car in any way.
Yeah.
You just fill up at the pump, and as soon as you fill up with this fuel, your car's essentially eco. You don't have to pay the tax as if you would if you were driving a gas guzzler.
Sweet.
Yeah, you could drive a Hummer.
Yeah.
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 And just put this fuel in, and it's an eco Hummer. Right,
oh, man,
and
yeah.
you know, why not use all this excess potato? Oh, just grow potatoes for that fucking reason.
Do you know what I reckon?
I
reckon the farmers aren't that stupid, and they thought about these kind of ideas. But I think it'd be down to red tape, to be honest.
Probably.
I think it'd be down. Well, you need a policy for this. You need a building to have this made. You need
if
this and
I ruled
this.
the world,
So it means more money, and farmers don't really get a lot of money as it is. You know what I mean?
Farmers aren't allowed.
They've been fucked over big time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're not.
The
you know, it's almost like there's a line. They say, "Oh, you're not allowed to earn money."
Yeah.
It's
And
like
how
that
many
with all
people
of
stop
us,
being
honestly.
farmers, and then you get like town folk that like, oh well, I'd love to go out and do that kind of stuff, and then try and operate the way they can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Right. Anything you've?
Yeah, we had some good news over Christmas. Ghislaine Maxwell.
I was going to say, did Santa
guilty.
bring you everything you wanted? Then I blatantly did.
Yeah, guilty for 5 out of the 6 charges.
Well, what happened on the 6th? What was the 6th charge? What did she not get found guilty of? Jaywalking. No, she actually were all right on that one.
Yeah. One of the charges is 40 years alone. One of the charges, and it all comes down to charges of like assault, kidnapping, transferring of people, so human smuggling,
human
and
trafficking.
stuff like that, yeah.
Human trafficking.
But she tried just before the end of the case. She tried to put it as they were doing it for money, basically, but his estate's already been done, and judgments have already been done. His money's gone from Epstein's or that case, and they were trying to do it. She was trying to say that that's what they were doing for this one, but the jury, beautiful jury, found all that she's guilty, but just beforehand as well.
So is she not going to be trying to go, I want a lighter sentence, I'll give you names, all the rest of it, a bit like Epstein did. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, maybe that she might not.
Well, at the beginning of the week,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
At the beginning and the end of the week of the trial, she someone out of her solicitors had told someone else that if she gets charged and proven guilty, then she's going to open her mouth on some people. So and it was like, ooh,
who are these some people then? That does imply heavily that there's other people involved, and some of them are protected, and some of them aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it depends on how much. I don't even know if I said this, and this wound me up.
So
even
if she gave him 20 names, then that still suggests that there's still more out there.
There's 2 black books. There's 2 black books full of names, people, when, where, what. In fact, this is what wound me up over the beginning of the Christmas period was the FBI. All their documents. There was was over 4,000 films of people, coming in, going out. Evidence of people actually visiting and doing whatever they were doing. All the paperwork, the transfers,
was Andrew
and all
in
that.
Any of them?
Well, we won't know now because it's disappeared. All of it's disappeared out of an FBI vault. And it was like, you're fucking joking me, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you're saying now you haven't got no evidence to actually go and prosecute the load of people who actually been doing this. So you've just basically gone, right, we're charging her, and unless she says something, which depends how long she's going to last in prison, to be honest, with what happened to the last one. You know what I mean?
People are, I think the overall census on that one is that it wasn't as expected. It wasn't how it was portrayed. Yeah. And if the same thing happens here, the questions have got to be asked, and you can't. It's too much of a coincidence for one. Yeah. How safe is the sort of penal system if people can just walk in and go, do you know what? Yeah, you've given me a sentence, but I opt out of that. Yeah, right.
But even when Epstein got sentenced, he still went to his workplace 10 hours a day, and wasn't had no tracker or anything like that. They just let him out, Go to work, then come back.
Yeah, because
he could have been doing anything, going
open
anywhere.
Prisons where they can pop to the office for a pack of cigarettes and stuff, as long as they behave.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and back by 7.
And it was funny actually that when Ghislaine Maxwell's father died, Maxwell, off the end of his boat, he was the first one she went to.
Yeah,
he was the first one she went to. Yeah.
See, there's a lot of people that we probably suspected of being dodgy.
I mean, look at the people who've turned out already, and we didn't.
I think there's people involved in this that he's going to shock people.
Oh, by far, yeah. From some of the
I don't know
I've
who.
seen.
I'm not saying I know anything, but I think this is going to be. There's a deep well on this one, and I think they're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, well, I think they're trying to hide it again. I think they're just trying to hide it, and something else is going to happen, and that's going to be shoved aside.
Well, it's crazy world.
It is. It's a fucked up world. But with that, Andrew. Virginia Roberts, who's suing Prince Andrew, she's looking to collect $500,000.
Should he be stripped of his Prince stuff now? I think, is he disgraced?
No,
I think he's disgraced the royal family. I mean, I think everyone will agree that the Queen, is fucking awesome. Yeah, right. But she's just kind of dragging but you haven't got proof. We name through the mud.
unless we can get him through the courts, and someone comes up with evidence that goes, look, you done this, and this. This is the proof. Then you can't. That's like sacking someone for not. Someone's told you he ain't done fuck all day, but then the work's actually gone through, and it's actually.
Yeah.
Well,
what I mean? I get where you're coming from, but
talking about court.
Go on.
Have you heard what this come from the Times? Reported of the government.
I year then. Sorry.
Government planning to overrule decisions made by our jury. And today I've signed my signature to it to go to Parliament to actually be discussed in Parliament, because this is being done sneakily.
What was this?
Again.
Say that again.
Basically, the Times reported just before Christmas that the government is planning to overrule any decision that a jury comes to. So, like the Ghislaine Maxwell thing, if it was in Britain,
they decide they can overrule
that and turn around and go, she's not guilty.
That's not right.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a petition.
That's getting a bit kind of fucking draconian.
I'm telling you, it's the rules they're trying. They're trying to take
they're basically dismantling democracy and kind of innocent before.
If they take that, you're going to
guilty and all the rest of it.
No
and even
chance.
if you are proven guilty, we can overrule it.
After this, there'd be little alleyways that we could go down to try and do whatever we need to do. But
this is the thing, though. I mean, it's getting like this all over the world. I mean, there's a couple of. I mean, people's rights, of human rights, are fucking important, and the people have got the right to say what they want and you
can't really.
You can't now.
You can only say certain things now.
Freedom of speech is
not there anymore.
Is not really there anymore. I mean, the thing is, it's like just generally your human rights being free.
Yeah. You can't even crack a joke.
And even
Comedians
sharing an opinion.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And this is a story. Well, there's several stories. But the first story, it's COVID related. But basically, there's a woman. She was detained. She was a Chicago woman. She was put in quarantine and detained on an airplane bathroom for 3 hours after testing positive for COVID mid-flight.
Of Ebola? She had Ebola.
She was on a plane, and they've basically locked her in a bathroom for 3 hours on a flight.
That's kidnapping.
That's pretty harsh, isn't it? But you think that's pretty
over
harsh. But what's happening in Australia, based on the media coverage that I've seen, is getting to the point of kind of fucking beyond the pale now, isn't it? Do you know?
I'm sort of sick of watching it, to be honest, because it is so, like you said,
draconian.
Yeah. It is so overruled. I mean, I can't believe they haven't snapped and actually turned around and gone, right, we want to take everything back now.
So I mean, people are talking about, like, it's actually reminding them of the the startup, or it's being kind of like used as a kind of a way to kind of show people what's happening, and liken it to how the country got started as like a prison colony. So you've got camps that have been built for quarantine. Right now, these were originally meant for people coming back into the country. Now we all know the quarantine, customs in Australia is strict.
Like they sound like China at the minute.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, right. And I mean, considering that they've got problems with China at the moment, you're behaving quite a lot like them in this respect. Yeah, right. Totally. And I think human rights definitely being violated here. Right. Yeah. So
where's international law when you need it? I mean, we would have kicked off if Iran had done something like that.
I'm appalled conconsidering that they're part of the Commonwealth. Right. And they're behaving like that, because I'd hate if this happened in the UK.
I'd be on
that'd be fucking front line, mate. Honestly, I'd kick off myself. But the point being is, it's got to the point now where they're putting local people to the camp in the camp. That's now, bullshit. free citizens, right? Basically, there was a report the other day where 3 people escaped
good for them.
The camp in the middle of the night, right?
Cracking, go on.
They tested negative, on the day before.
So then the camp is all negative then, so it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, so Australian police have arrested 3 people who broke out of a COVID quarantine compound in the middle of the night. The Howard Springs Centre near Darwin. The trio scaled fences to break out of the facility. Officers found them in a manhunt, so they ended up sending a manhunt after them. Shit. On Wednesday. They all tested negative for COVID the day before. There's really no reason for them to be there.
Exactly. Basically, they've been kidnapped.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. They're being held in a fucking concentration camp
and where
for
the solicitors,
fucking no reason.
Right? I know where all the solicitors are, because they're going to have to come up soon and then turn around and actually point these out and go, well, that was unlawful. Even though you put in law this, and this, that was unlawful to put that in law.
Well, they've arrested so many people. I mean, they've issued over 2,000 fines for people breaking COVID laws, which again probably all unlawful. Because it happened here in the UK where police constabularies
not a single one could be charged.
Were issuing fines for breaking COVID laws, which they weren't doing, just having a walk, exercising their right to exercise.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were getting fucking fines.
Left, right and centre,
literally all of them got thrown out.
Yeah, every single one. Yeah, the judges turned around and said.
But going back to what you've just said about having the government have the power to overturn what a judge says. Now, if a judge turns around and says these fines are not legal, then it's what we pick and choose is the law, so they can get away with more because they can overrule a judge.
And it's not even about the person who's running your country at the minute.
Well, that's over here, but I mean, at the end of the day,
it's the ones that come up afterwards that turn around and go, right, well, now I've got this bit of power, I'm going to use it to do this, this and this. I'm going to be a dictator now.
I think one of the worst stories this week I saw was a pregnant woman who, again, was just, right to and have an opinion. Posted a post on Facebook about a protest.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you'd think that was, your
right if to do it. Yeah.
She's not physically going out, but she's talking like in support.
She's using the global community.
Now,
on the internet.
I'm not being funny, but we're all sick of the pandemic. Yeah, right. These people who were sat in the houses, especially in Australia, where these stay-at-home bans are still in force.
And for what fucking reason? This is the test area. I'm telling you, this is the test area for if they actually do take control of the Australian people, as like they are doing, and they actually get hold of it, and the people don't turn around and do something about it at a certain stage. Then watch it happen around the way. It's going to be
this is the point, This woman, she's a pregnant woman. She basically posted something on Facebook about anti-lockdown protests, right? And the police turned up at her door and arrested her in front of her husband, in front of her kids. Yeah, she's still in her pajamas and she's trying to get ready to go for an ultrasound.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, what you're arresting me for? And she's been done for incitement.
Austria's been doing that as well.
I'm not, again, totally different country, but if she's getting arrested for incitement, why the fuck has Trump not been arrested? Yeah.
Or
for
as in
any of the other people who incite shit, Tony Blair, anyone who incites war, or a fucking something against the establishment, isn't getting done. So she's been arrested now, and she's been released on bail.
On bail,
yeah, but
so she's had to pay.
Exactly right. So
out.
she's been done for incitement, right? Not only there was another female who. I think she'd posted something or been at a protest or whatever. And they arrested her while she was driving to work one day.
Just pulled her over and went.
They'd been following her.
Oh my days.
Yeah, and again they arrested her for incitement. Yeah. Now this is the one. It's like you're basically saying something that we don't agree with. You're kind of spreading a message we don't agree with. So therefore, you're inciting people to go out and protest, which again is a right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying for that right as well. You're the ones who run the government.
I wouldn't mind if we lived in Australia. I think we would have already been arrested for this.
I think
this is appalling, and
I think it's well out of order. And I think keep it up, Australians.
Just keep your chins up and keep your spirits up, because
we're behind
obviously. But there was a quote. I think it was at Clive Anderson. He said, people do say that they liken people from Australia to. You're all descendants of prisoners. But he said that, but you forget 50% of them were raised from ancestors of prison guards. Do you know what I mean? So to have these sort of we'll keep order. Sort of
just
attitude.
Ordinary people as well, like what we did in America.
I love the Australian people. They're so welcoming and warm. Do you know what I mean? It's don't deserve anything like this. But they've been through the ringer recently, and you've got to kind of say,
keep your spirits up. I bet they had a shit Christmas and fucking New Year's.
Oh, mate.
You know what I mean? They need to stand up. Well, they are standing up for rights, but I can see that you can only do so much until it turns into violence.
But this is the problem, because it's in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam at the moment. There's been protests over COVID restrictions, and they've got a ban on protests. Yeah. So what is it? So it's like you can have an opinion but keep it to yourself, and if you start telling anyone your opinion, you'll get arrested, or you're just not allowed to go out in the streets in a group of more than how many, because you'll get arrested.
And then
is this honestly the day and age we're living in?
And then they send the spies out to listen to what you're saying about
this is
the opinion.
If you've never read 1984, it is a fucking classic, and you should have.
And we did do one on it on
we did an episode, George
not that
Orwell.
long ago.
But I mean, it's even when we were ifs and buts and candy and nuts in it, a couple of years ago, that was just ifs and buts. But today,
it's
getting more and more that direction. Do you know, would you grass up your family and friends? Fabulous prizes to be won.
like George Soros, he would love to do that.
Anyway, any more news you want to talk about? I've got plenty. There's been a lot going on.
Yeah, same here. When I was telling you about our blood, because we haven't had the injection, is more valuable.
Yes, blood.
Now they want your spunk.
Oh, fucking hell. Any other body fluids that
apparently
you're interested in?
Price has
got
gone
armpit
up
sweat, 50
for those
quid
who
a gallon.
haven't had the injection. So I'm going down to the bank tomorrow.
it is like that guy, like Tank from Matrix, and it's like, I'm
going to need bodyguards
I wasn't
soon.
born in the Matrix.
Gonna need bodyguards. You're valuable.
That body there is worth
a fucking fortune.
Quids, mate. Loads of them.
Oh, fuck that. Oh no.
Do you know what I mean? You're never gonna see him now. He'll be down the wank bank making his deposits.
I'll throw my deposit. I've got to give myself a rest. Sunday off. And I got to do the show.
See what I mean? This is why I didn't. When I don't dispute the intro to the show this week, because I was just like, that's fair.
You got to have a hobby, haven't you?
Right, anyway.
What about the gas prices?
Gas prices suck, man. It's like you're going to put the gas on, and it's like you've got to put out a second mortgage or sell your car or something, because the gas prices are doubling.
Yep, April, they're doubling.
You got even the even the Prime Minister's going, oh, I can't afford that. Best get onto him.
Well, he's got like 17 kids or something.
Yeah, he's got 17 kids to
Yeah,
feed.
like
He's going to have the eating on all the time, isn't he? And it's like, well, he can't afford that. So he's gone down to ManWeb and all the rest of them.
Yeah, having
Scottish
a little
Power
word with him.
said, listen, and they went, nah, it's not even us, it's Russia.
Yeah, Russia's stopping the gas, man. Well, we told you they were going to fucking do it.
Well, we got cyber attacked by one of them the other day.
Did we?
Yeah, the Department of... Oh, yeah, so this is another story, but I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Okay.
Tell us about your gas prices.
It's going to double in April. What the government's planning at the moment is the Treasury is having a meeting with all the gas suppliers, and they're trying to work out a deal that they will pay a couple of billion now to cover everyone.
Wow, can we have it on tick?
But next year, we will be paying it back a little bit, and then the year after, a little bit, and a little bit. So
our cost of living's going to be going up soon.
Again,
we're going to have to be like, fucking, what are you on? We're on like £70 an hour.
Well, I'm glad the fucking Chinese station didn't happen,
you know, the fucking, but then your money, just like Mr. Rook said.
Well, yeah.
Your money's worthless.
Yeah, because the Chinese one, the power station that was joint with France, that Theresa May signed and agreed.
Is it a nuclear one? Because they all fraught with problems, man. All the time. They're all never on time.
And it would have taken 20 years to make, but our bills would have gone up 96% the day that got turned on.
No way.
So thank fuck that collapsed.
Because it's warming up.
Yeah.
It's just warming up, man.
It's warming up. Let global warming do its thing, man. I'm getting nice and warm.
I know it's like it's been the warmest January, beginning of the year for records. People been out swimming. Yeah. All the rest of it. Yeah. We got cyber attack, Ministry of Defence.
Right. Okay.
Apparently somebody infiltrated a Ministry of Defence training facility, right? And put them in the system, put themselves in the system. They found some suspicious activity and then cottoned onto it, but they reckon it was rather China or Russia.
They're usual suspects.
The usual suspects infiltrated. It's like, those pesky Russians. Yeah. I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for the Ministry
North Korea.
of Defense.
They've been a bit quiet, you know what I mean?
Could be. Well, North Korea. Funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
I've got a story about this. This is when you see it on the news, it doesn't seem all that.
No.
You know,
no.
Man who crossed the border. One man who crossed the border. But no, it's big news. We don't know. Good luck to the man. Yeah, wherever he's going or whatever he's doing. Yeah, right. He was
on a mission.
He had to cross no man's land, basically, which is full of surveillance, full of snipers, full of mines, full of all the shit you don't want to be going across.
No,
right?
You don't want to be walking.
And this man went, I'm going in there. Yeah, right. He's trying to get into North Korea. He's like, I've had enough of dancing and fucking fun.
When James Bond was
the too fun over there. I'm going home.
Some spy who's just gone off his head and gone, I know my way in there.
Look, they told me I can have my hair any way I wanted. I just long for the catalogue.
Well, on a serious
pre-approved haircuts.
A lot of North Koreans who go to South Korea can't handle it and
the
try
freedom,
and get back.
Like the freedom. Yeah. No, what they like the sort of being told how to live and when to.
You're famous. As soon as you walk in the country, you're famous, mate. You know what I mean? You're on TV. You're doing quiz shows and stuff.
For doing what?
For being in North Korea. Would you what? I'd be a hero if I just walked in North Korea for 5 minutes.
This is the problem. Nobody knows whether he's like a North Korean who went to South Korea who's now trying to get back to North Korea, or if he's a South Korea defector going to North Korea.
He could have been a spy.
He could have been a spy. There's loads of reasons why, but like they sent a manhunt in for him. 3 hours they went looking.
3 hours.
They couldn't find him, but like they said that based on CCTV footage, the man has made a rare crossing to North.
You know what? I don't believe that because the American military would have had a satellite on his ass as soon as he was even steps on that fucking thing.
He's going in. Yeah. He's not. There'd be guys standing around the monitor going, I bet he goes in. Yeah. Bet he stands on that landmine.
Give him 5 minutes. Give him 2. Who's up for the 2.5 minutes?
Do you know, whatever he was doing?
Well, good luck to what he's got the freedom to do what he wants.
Yeah, my hat's off to you. Do what you want. Yeah.
If you've got the fucking balls, all you might.
That's the thing, isn't it? If I mean, it's crazy to think that crossing a border.
Do you reckon Darwin Award winner?
Such a big deal, and it's like that's the way I see that we all come from planet Oh God, pardon me.
Oh.
We all, I was a bit let a burp out. We all come from planet Earth, and it's like why we can't even say you're allowed here, you're allowed
He's
there.
a Darwin
We can't
winner,
even
isn't he?
go
You know what I
around.
mean? He's seen the awards, he's come across, and he's gone, I want to be one of them. I'll run back. I'd
say the area he crossed was probably considered one of the most dangerous places on the planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that guy, like I say, he could be
Brave.
a Darwin Award winner.
Yeah, he could.
But maybe he
I don't think
gets
we'll
out.
see the satellite tapes. I don't think we'll ever get to see them. Like,
Never.
Is he going to? Oh, Squid Games.
Oh, yeah, it's like, shit, if he would have just gone left.
yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? But, hey, life, you know what I mean? Let's hope he had a good Christmas.
Or life.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? I've got plenty, but
Yeah, what about... Oh, Saudi Arabian men and women got to dance together
Really?
for 4 days to a rave.
To a rave?
To a rave in Saudi Arabia.
So wait a minute. They were doing
disco. Techno.
And why is that important? Wait, Saudi Arabia's going off here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Put the noise down. Turn it down.
Turn that radio down. Because where are they dancing to? I mean, I'm taking the piss here.
Loads of famous DJs and shit.
Really? So they could have been listening to Two Unlimited. No.
Yeah. Oh yes. You got to abide.
Fair enough.
But a lot of but it was a 4-day rave.
A 4-day rave
in the
Fair
desert,
enough.
supported and
by the gorillas,
partly paid, by the government and the
Pete
royal
Tong.
family. The royal family actually
and Norman
paid.
Cook.
Yeah,
did they all come down?
I reckon Norman Cook
possibly
could have been one.
The illustrious career of Norman Cook.
Yeah, he just disappeared and then come back a rich man.
If I was a rich man.
But Saudi Arabia seems to be getting more, giving more rights to the citizens.
Good
basically.
stuff. Oh, because I thought, is it kind of like a biannual celebration of some description where they're allowed?
Never happened before.
I can't believe that this is the thing, man. It's like people should be free to dance, man. Dancing's
yeah, but
a
this
fucking
was Saudi Arabia. You got to
thing.
do is if you do the wrong thing, you get your hands chopped off or whatever. No, I mean you can't drink alcohol.
So now the 4 days are over. There's no more dancing.
Nah, they've all gone back to the.
Not allowed to dance now. Got it all out your system.
Yeah, got it out your system. Another 2,000 years, and we'll have another one. We might even put the Okie Kokie on.
No, we'll have another one now.
Yeah,
this one's for you, Saudi Arabia. Coming to you large, massive.
But he even had
louder you scream, faster the ride.
Red Sea International Film Festival there too.
The Red Sea Film Festival, sorry.
Yeah,
I thought it was on the waltzers.
Which actually, for the first time, a woman won Best Director.
Yeah.
And the gay guy won
Best Actor.
Best Actor, yeah. And it was like, whoa, things are actually...
See, we're progressive.
Yeah,
we're being progressive.
Starting to change, yeah. And
Look at us.
It's good, yeah.
It was like some of them went to college over here or something, and they were like, do you know what we should do? Be a bit more progressive.
Yeah, if you've got some CBD, you'll do 25 in you.
Mate, yeah, if you've got some CBD, you're fucked, aren't you?
Like Bud, wasn't it?
Got some aspirin, you're going down for at least a month.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about drugs. This is a story I found about a mum who was shocked when she was making her 4 kids breakfast to find over 120 grams worth of meth
money
in a cereal box.
Good job she weren't a meth head.
Shit, man. So obviously, like, some cartel had been using cereal to ship the goods, hadn't they? Got the wrong box.
Yeah, and now they're fucked because the FBI or whoever's going to know which kind of boxes and what they're doing now.
More than she expected when she reached in a $6 cereal. You pay $6 for cereal. That's obviously a bit expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Normally, you put your hand in and get a toy.
For 100 and what?
200. It was a good job she weren't a cracker, a meth head, weren't it, really? Because she'd been like, whoa, I thought you only got these little toys and stuff in. I got some crack.
Yeah, I got some crack. I got the good stuff.
I got some good
I got the manager's bag.
So, so that was interesting. And,
Yeah, that's...
Imagine, I'm glad that she was serving the cereal and not one of the kids who might have thought it was something like sugar or something in the bag.
Yeah, blue.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Well, blue. You're thinking of fucking, what's it, Breaking Bad? It's all blue.
Well,
all of it's blue. They probably do dye it blue now because of that.
Well, they could do, yeah.
Probably, maybe. I don't know.
No, I thought it was white.
I've really no idea.
I haven't.
I've honestly got no idea.
Never taken any. Not even seen any, to be honest.
We've got some more news, but we've got some NASA news. I've got some Tesla news going into NASA news.
Ooh, yeah.
Just let me have a look at my headline. So, yeah, Tesla. Yeah, so we've got the mum. Yeah, we've done that one.
Yeah, we have done the mum.
Right.
The mum who's
right. So, man blows his Tesla up rather than. So, he broke his Tesla, took it into the repair shop, and they've said it's going to cost 22 grand to repair it.
What?
Yeah. So, what he did was he blew it up.
He blew his Tesla up because his bill was 22 grand.
It was more satisfying, I suppose. He filled it with dynamite and blew it up. £22,600 it would have, or dollars it would have cost to repair. So he blew his Tesla up.
So he ain't buying the next line then.
I mean, you were saying about like, it's his own vehicle, so he's got the right.
He's got the right to do what he wants.
I remember Richard Pryor saying in his comedy sketches, like he got arrested for shooting up his own car.
Yeah, but was that in England?
No, that was in America as well.
Was in America as well? Yeah, but times have changed now, haven't they?
Totally, but I mean, it's like...
You can throw a grenade and get away with it.
It's my own property. Just I'm allowed to blow it up. I'm
yeah,
if he
does it in the right way, he can shove it in his own property and blow away as long as he's got license.
Well, maybe he took it to the Tesla service centre in Colorado.
I would have rammed it through the fucking centre if they'd turned around and said that.
You can't now because it suffered mega damage from the fires.
Then I would have rammed it through there, then put the dynamite in.
Well, that's probably why they're charging him so much. They got to rebuild this compound, to be honest. I mean? It's like the place has been burnt, not down, I'm assuming, but like it's damaged in the wildfires.
Yeah.
I mean, Tesla. I'm not too fussed about because they've got insurance. They can get that rebuilt, but there's a lot of people who lost a lot of property and homes around the Colorado area, and that stuff is really difficult for people to replace sentimental items.
Yeah, I feel more sorry for the longer term people, but the shorter term not so much because you must have had an idea that this is a possibility and what would happen. This is the problem. This is the problem about living on a planet. We're living on a planet where anything can happen, right? And we build. As a species, we've historically built near water, so that means these houses and developments near rivers and stuff like that, which, we should have known better because they flood and break the banks every now and again. Yeah, there is certain
and then
things,
you've got I live near a forest, isn't it pretty? But, wait a minute, because they can catch on fire every now and again. It's like you can't help. There's stuff like this everywhere. You can't go, that's like saying just don't live on Earth. Because we won't insure you because you live on Earth. And there's threats everywhere.
If you know you're on the side of a mountain and there's a chance that there's a mudslide that's going to come down and hit you, you're not going to build on the side of a mountain, are you?
Well, we wouldn't because, that's why more people live in more inland now.
Well, then if I had
that's funny that Australia, thinking about it, they don't use the inland. It's all around the edges they live, don't they?
Well, if I built one there and charged you reasonable rent for it, would you go and live in there?
What, on the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So it's down to the builders who build the property. I mean, how many times even in England, how many times you've heard... we actually had a problem in Glossop where a load of houses were built, but because it's not in a flat and it's on a hill kind of side.
We
had problems with water getting down to the bottom, and people weren't getting any water down at the bottom in the older houses.
Right. Okay.
So they had to do a lot of work around that when they should have thought of that before they actually just gone plonk. Right, there's a bit of land. Let's just fucking throw some.
Because it's picturesque.
Yeah, because it's you know what I mean. It won't be when you build fucking flats next door to it. You know what I mean? It's like they don't think before they build. They don't think before they do. They just do.
Yeah.
If they get money.
That's all about.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this. Did you see that Daniel Craig got a special honour?
No.
From the Queen.
Oh, right.
Yeah, do you know the Queen gives out honours for New Year sort of thing, and she's broke tradition.
Right.
Because the honour that she gave Bond actor Daniel Craig was reserved for real life diplomats or real life spies, and he's been given I do like that Daniel Craig.
Good
She's giving him a proper honour, which I don't know. Is he a full on?
Well, he has jumped out of a plane with her, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
The Queen?
Yeah.
When?
2012.
Did he really?
The Olympics.
No, he didn't.
No, someone jumped out supposedly
looking like the Queen.
Yeah,
that wasn't the Queen.
Yeah, it weren't the Queen, but but he actually went into the palace and seen the Queen, and had a little chin wag.
Little chin. She likes Daniel Craig. I think she's probably.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve that honour, I don't think.
She believes that James Bond is like actually a real spy. Yeah. That's what I think she believes now.
Don't say she's losing her marble.
Yeah, she actually
thinks he
she's
is.
like every time she sees Daniel Craig, she shakes his hand and goes, "Thank you for everything you've done for the country. You do a lot. I've been following your exploits in the dossiers that they've been sending me on DVD."
I get a report every morning on what you're doing.
I know, yeah. She's like, "I'll follow you on Twitter."
Oh, no.
James Bond. Licensed to thrill the Queen.
I mean, the guy's a good actor and that. I don't think he deserves that kind of honour, though.
So what, can he go around bossing around people like in the military now?
He's retired now. He can fuck off. He could just go around going, you knew guess what I get. He'd probably get 2 sheep and a bit of land. I
bet he is a duke or something now, isn't he? He's like Duke.
He's going to get something for it. That's what you get with the award.
Duke, Mr. Craig.
Yeah, and it's usually animals.
I hope the land that they give him is like, in space. Like space colonizing. You go, Mr.
First
Craig,
man to moon.
We know that you're really adventurous.
Moonraker
Mr.
2.
Bond, Moonraker 2.
Yeah, Moonraker 2. We landed on the moon.
With Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Well, they think that space colonists like Daniel Craig will likely resort to cannibalism.
I think that if we do what we do now and don't prep, if we don't prep good enough.
Well, no, because this goes back down to this, meat substitutes that we can kind of produce from plants.
There's plenty of potatoes we could build out there.
What, a potato mountain to space?
Yeah, throw the potatoes there instead of it. They can make the vodka. The air won't get into the potato. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
they'll stay fresh longer.
Yeah, exactly.
We have proven this on the Sputnik.
No insects, messing around with it. Drop a bag every now and again.
Well, there might not be any colonists left after that anyway, because they're going to all eat each other.
What is it?
Until there can only be one.
Yeah. Well, there is a big possibility that could happen, because if we strand a couple of people, 12, let's say 100 people, and like that they need a lot of water every day. They need food every day. They need air every day. They've got to work to try and build that, and if one bit of that operation goes wrong, it could mess every other bit of operation.
Of course, yeah.
And within seconds, they could be like, all gone. It's just a case of
bye, birdie.
Yeah, it's one of them. But we got to prep, and we've got to prep.
Well,
good.
Firstly, what we've got to do is get all the crap out of the sky, because we're talking about like the human fucking situation here, where everyone's talking climate change and the way we behave and with the way we treat the planet. Yeah. Now,
treat like a rubbish.
Going further than that, the universe, we're dumping a lot of shit out there. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Arguably, which could become a threat to us. Yeah, in the near future.
No doubt it will
right?
in the future. Yeah,
I mean,
already has.
We like SpaceX,
yes,
but they are putting out a considerable amount of stuff into space. They're launching quite a lot of satellites. And the first launch of 2022 will deploy even more Starlink internet satellites, giving overall better coverage to the customers.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of them fell out of the sky, though.
Have they really?
Yeah, 57 was the last time, and that was about 2 months ago.
Oh, well. I mean, like I say, we were talking about space junk, but the space junk orbiting Earth is actually kind of a human crisis again.
Yeah.
We
just dump everywhere, don't we? We don't give a shit.
There's been incidences where, we've sent off rockets into space, and then, a few years later, it's been balled up into these sort of, metal spheres, and it gets sucked back into our gravity. And we found 2 that have just hit places randomly about 7 years apart. And it was just when they get sucked back in. So the more crap we throw out there's more likely that might happen. We've got more chances that something in our orbit might hit a satellite and knock stuff out that way.
Or a craft, or a spaceship who's going...
that's going out, flying out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of reasons, but I mean...
We've got to watch out for the satellites
what
as well.
What we need to be developing is a method of kind of safely bringing this stuff back.
Yeah.
Gathering it up, or trying to trying to get rid of it if it's not reusable.
They need a big fucking whale to just open its mouth and fucking go around the earth a couple of fucking thousand times to collect all the shit.
That'd be good, wouldn't
That'd
it?
be a better option than all these ideas that, you know,
massive whale.
harpoon this little fucking bit and then pull it down and then put it to the atmosphere.
It's a slower kind of... we need a big...
fucking ship up there and fucking get rid of the lot. In one big swoop. We could get rid of all that shit within, 10-20 years.
But again,
easily.
it's like that sort of kind of job that somebody would have to be up there, you know, gathering space junk. It's like, you know, are we built for these sort of strains and stresses? Do you know, of kind of, you know, what society keeps demanding of the human?
Yeah, we keep getting busier and busier.
It's
and
mad,
we're
isn't
getting
it, to think
technology
about?
that's supposed to make life easier, yet we're getting busier and busier, and we're getting more illness, more bad-tempered, more unsociable. All these reactions on just, you know, technology.
Yeah. Well, the world's just set a new record for sending the most rockets into orbit. It's over doubled in the last decade.
Yeah, we doubled the rubbish.
Yeah, send more rubbish up into space.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and we might have one more.
why? Oh yeah.
A
Well,
very, very expensive piece of rubbish.
the James Webb Telescope.
The James Webb Telescope, yeah, because what's happened with the James Webb is that there is free movements. It's going 1 million miles to its destination.
Yeah.
But it's got free points. It's got to do movement so it can get into that, you know, position.
Yeah, in its orbit trajectory, not orbit, but in its trajectory of where it wants to go.
Yeah.
Its navigation.
That's right. And they've done the second one has just been done, and it's nearly coming to the third. And this is going to be the most crucial part, because if it doesn't get into that position, it's just going to fly into space, and we just cannot use it. It's just going to be dead dodo. Yeah. But on top of that, another piece of the news was that it's sun shield. It's
solar array.
Yeah, it should have happened on the second.
It's happened, yeah. It's happened.
But it hasn't. It's been delayed. It's had to be delayed because there's some sort of problem with it. And that was to protect and cool from the sunlight.
Well, no, it's actually been deployed now.
Has it deployed now then?
Yeah, it deployed its solar array. It's a 20-foot solar array that attaches to the main observatory. So basically what that does, it's the sort of power supply, isn't it?
Yeah, and protector against the machine getting damaged by the sunlight.
And it basically powers the propulsion as well as the systems, instruments and apparatus that are on board the telescope. Now, I mean, Hubble gave some really impressive images over the years. I think what we're expecting from this one. But again, it's going to take it so long to get out there. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be seeing stuff that we recognise at first, but they're sending it in a different direction to the.
They generally seem to send it in one kind of direction, but I don't know. I mean,
it'd be nice to see a different direction. If you're going to send, what they should have done was said we're sending 2 out, 1 in that direction, 1 in that direction. That would have been an idea.
Now you'd need shitloads. I mean, you'd need at least about 30 to 50 of them to surround the whole planet to actually.
Yeah, but no one's asking to do that level scale. Do you know what I mean? But you could stick 1 or 2 up and go right, 1 in that direction, one north, 1 south.
Yeah, and I actually think they should be using the population. They should be using us to help us to work out better with the stars and
Well, they're hiring NASA. NASA are hiring for a variety of jobs at the moment. There was the committee to kind of work out whether aliens were actually legitimate. But NASA are hiring for priests at the moment.
Priests? Oh, well, it's for the cannibals, isn't it?
For the fine young cannibals. No, they're basically saying this is to prepare humans for contact with aliens.
Right, okay. Because what's he going to do? Go like, you have to.
We had a story earlier, and I wasn't sure, but it kind of ties in because it basically talks about how scientists are now theorizing, because people have the problem with Adam and Eve and genetics, and how evolution doesn't really tie in with the whole Adam and Eve concept. But they're saying that it could have worked that way, these geneticists. And they're saying that, they could have been first humans, Adam and Eve, So you got all these Christians going, oh, we're not sure about this. But, when you've got priests going, aliens, what are they suggesting? Because we've already had the Vatican turn around and say, well, if there is aliens, they're made by God as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, if aliens did come down, would that be like shatter the whole religion of, people's faith and stuff? That's what I think people, the governments, NASA, the fucking,
they're losing all their controls
would
the people.
think, because they'd be like, well, if you turn up and say, no, there's no God, we're aliens, we'll tell you how it really is, your flocks are going to lose their shit. Basically. So if we get priests involved to come down and give them like, well, there are aliens, but they're all God's creatures, and if they do ever arrive, we're supposed to embrace them like brothers, and sisters. The mass Christians and other faiths, depending on who's putting this message out, would be, reassuring people before the event. So when the event does happen, their pastor, their priest, their vicar, reverend, or whatever, has said, go and hug them. They're a brother. They're made by God. They're the same as you. They're just from another planet. But
God, they're all
God's creations. Well, no, I don't know.
I don't think they have.
Well, have they got the right to fucking mess with, keep people in line with one reason or another? I mean, you could say religion's one method, fucking aliens is another. It's like, as long as you've got something to believe in, is it one or the other or another thing? It's like, and that's why I think more people are turning to... Why don't we send them
with a Jehovah's Witness?
That's why I think more people are turning to the alternate viewpoints, because the past these outdated religions and fucking who don't have the answers, and they're more turning to these science, kind of like even just their own research and believing what they want to believe, which could be a mixture of fucking anything, to be honest, these days.
It's dangerous, but at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to make our own choice.
I'm a pagan agnostic.
You're a pagan agnostic.
Yeah, have that.
Yeah.
Does that work? I don't know.
Well, if it works for you, then yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying, and I don't identify as anything. But you know what I'm saying? It's like
anyway. I've got beliefs in this.
Would you say an alien? If an alien came down and your priest had told you that, don't worry, if an alien comes and approaches you, well, I bet he did. But if an alien approaches you, you're supposed to go over and just go, hi, I'm so-and-so, and pleased to meet you, and be just like you would with any other person. If your priest told you that and that happened, would you heed what your priest said and do that? Because I've got these visions of everyone going to hug an alien and they all get obliterated, exterminated.
It really depends on my age, because if I was younger, I'd probably go, if I was...
I'm not trusting you.
in the 20s, then I'd probably go...
well, isn't that the problem?
Isn't
that the problem we have here on Earth anyway, right? Because we're too sort of... not stubborn, but like kind of wary of other things we don't recognise, things we don't understand.
We've seen more for it. We've seen more life than a 20-year-old, unless they've been in a, really.
No, generally speaking, I mean, like, are we talking like humanity? If we don't understand it, we're a bit worried and a bit wary about it. I mean, we have that problem here, just with different cultures. When it's like that's. So, to some people, like, the way other people live is alien, so they don't know how to handle it. So, I mean, if that's just kind of the case where we can't even get on in this small fucking confines, and we've been here for how many years trying, involving a third party isn't going to help, or fourth party isn't going to help, really, is it?
More likely to conquer. And anyway, to be honest, we don't even need to discuss about that, because it's already happened. It's already happened in the fucking past. It's already happened in the 40s, 50s, 60s. That if they because otherwise, like,
Oh, come on.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense how the governments are operating on covering up like UFOs, abductions, bases, and stuff like this.
Yeah, because we're saying
It just
about that
doesn't
task
work.
force that they were going to put out.
Yeah.
They're going, oh, yeah, we're going to operate a task force to find out about aliens. And like, well, unless the governments go, well, we'll give you the data, give you the info, then have as many task forces as you want, because we're still never going to find out, because we've hidden it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's thankful to...
It's like, yeah, you crack on, love. Have your task force.
Journalists and like ufologists who actually go out there and find the information and the pictures, the evidence, and bring it forward, and even, you know, like requests loads of stuff and getting hassled for doing it. I mean, if it weren't for them lot, then like we wouldn't be talking about half of this stuff that like has been tucked away, and a lot more has got to come out. But I really, unless the government ever gets overrun in America, it will never come out. To be honest.
Fair enough. Well, basically, life on Venus.
Oh,
they're saying
clouds?
Aliens could be hiding in the cloud. Well, not in the clouds, but planets like, you know. Well, they could be. They could be like Cloud City.
Yeah, they reckon that there's a possibility if we were to live on that planet.
If we lived on that planet, that's how we'd live
in
above the methane, isn't it? Yeah, because they're basically saying that it's got, you know, various ammonias.
Actual creatures that, there's some evidence to state that there are things living there.
Right, okay.
At the top. So, you know, like, you know, like your farts and stuff like that.
lingering in the atmosphere.
Well, that's one of the tests that they do on every planet. That is one that they're looking for.
Will your fart linger?
Yeah. If your fart lingers, bang, we got methane. Oh, sweet, we got life.
Well, good little plan, that. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. So they go and send someone with a baked bean diet.
Yeah.
Just go, yeah.
And just got to make sure our lot are in their spacesuits and they don't let one go.
Right, fair enough. Well, there you go. Well, there's this week's news. Have you got anything else to add?
I've got one more thing.
Do it.
In history, this is the first time it has ever happened. And we need more.
Oh,
rich
you should see him now. He's gone all like, you know,
gone
like,
all political. I've gone all Tony Blair.
He's pushed his chest out and he's doing hand motions and everything.
Because we need more of this.
Hush in the cabinet for the speaker.
You ready? Elon Musk has paid £11 billion in tax.
Hang on. I know which button. One of the
press
buttons.
Press it. Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Well, you know. Tax-paying shouldn't deserve a round of applause, but when you're a billionaire and you pay a lot of tax, you pay the tax. In fact, he paid more tax than he was supposed to pay.
Yeah, he paid his tax bill that he owed. And a lot of rich millionaires are turning around saying,
they use tax breaks is what the problem is.
Yeah.
And these companies, it's like Trump, right? Trump says he's a savvy businessman because he uses tax breaks that are available to him. He uses tax codes because they're there. And if he's there, then he's going to use them because he wants to save money. Right? Whereas Elon Musk, what he's done is paid the tax without any tax breaks. Now there's a website actually operating in Germany and in around Europe called Tax Me Now. It's aimed at the 7 and up percent of millionaires across Europe who want to be taxed. They don't want. They think they should be taxed more because they've got more. They don't need it. There was one woman now. In fact, I watched a documentary about the scheme, Tax Me Now. And she leads a modest life, lives in a nice house, but you wouldn't think she was a millionaire. And the money that she, be through tax breaks and stuff that she shouldn't really
She was gaining more every year.
She's getting more money than she needs, and she wants to be taxed more if it's going to help the economy, if it's going to help her country. It's almost like they won't allow them.
Because if they do tax then
her, they've got to
theirs.
tax everyone else. Do you know what I mean? So I do applaud what they're doing, and I think more people in that position should do the same. And I think it's not a case of that we want your money or people want you to take your money away from you. It's a case of that when's enough? If you've got enough to comfortably live for 15 lifetimes, are you sitting there at night going, shit, I hope no one's taking my money. I hope no one's stealing my money.
Yeah,
because that is a
fucking
weird way to live. And just you know what, give it to some,
give it to someone who needs it.
Well, give it to the fucking pay your way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone should pay the way.
I tell you what, if I was that rich, they'd make me pay my fucking tax. I tell you that.
Oh
much.
Yeah, but it's like businessmen.
Like, what, you're rich? Have some more money.
CEOs don't pay that much because they've got a how can you say a business,
and
that business is valued at, let's say, 4 billion. So then that makes it valued at 4 billion.
Well, because it's his asset.
Yeah. At the end of the day, so then he's gaining 20 million a year or something like that. So then that yearly income was 4 billion. And whatever. So the tax thing needs to change a lot, and especially in England, because we've only got 200 tax laws, but there is shitloads of grey areas.
Shitloads of grey areas, but obviously as well, everything that's going on, it's just piling it on top as well, because you keep saying like, oh, can we do this? We'll pay you later.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, that's us paying you later, and it's like at some point that we're going to get hit hard. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, we're getting hit hard in a lot of ways. We if this happens, that's a fucking anyway. Well, that is the end of the show.
It is.
We've gone on quite a long time, but it is the new year, and we have had a lot to catch up on.
Well, yes, we needed to have our little celebration and a little break, and over that time,
it's like I say, a lot going on in the world.
Yeah.
Like I say, hearts going out to the people of Colorado with the wildfires over there. As well as the people of Australia, people like who are just like trying to voice their opinions.
Stand up for yourselves, people.
You know what I'm saying? I think like when you talk in camps, it does kind of bring up sort of fucking like images of something that didn't happen that long ago in Germany.
Yeah, and what's happening right now in China.
Yeah. So it's fucking like it's not like the world we're supposed to be living in at this day and age, is it?
No. Well, hopefully it'll get better for 2000.
I mean, if you've had an experience, we'd love to hear from you, because I mean, obviously, if what's your experience been of it? Have we here in the UK been made to believe that it's worse than it is? I'd love to hear from both sides. I mean, is it as bad as they're making out the media, or is it worse? If you've had an experience yourself, let us know. We'd love to hear from you anyway. So get in touch if you've got any questions, comments, or suggestions. You can email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. We're available on Twitter at NASA_never. We're over on Instagram, where Instagram's took off, man. We've got loads of people following us on Instagram.
Go you Instagrammers.
Yeah. But you do get a lot of people going, scammers on Instagram. This is the thing about Meta and Facebook. Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of issues.
They don't. If they don't tighten up the security. Yeah. It's how are they expected to kind of go forward into this arena of the metaverse and all the rest of it?
Well, if you haven't got, I've always said this for like the internet, that it like it's a Pandora's box. Like it was great at the beginning, but then like it's coming. Terrible and hard to work with.
Well, maybe we'll do an episode on the metaverse at some point. Who knows? So see what happens.
We need to
the security.
The security should have been there before it should have been let out.
Well, I think what a lot of things are. There's a lot of things that were put in place after the fact with Facebook that haven't yet been implemented into the plans for the future.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're available on Instagram. Get over to Instagram at Never Straight Answer. And available on all podcast platforms. Wherever you get your podcast, we'll be there.
We will.
Just search Never a Straight Answer podcast and you'll find us.
We are here.
We've got over 160 episodes to go through.
Oh, yes.
But that's just normal episodes. Then we've got extras and other content as well. So make sure you've got loads to binge through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And see how we become this crazy podcast that you listen to today.
Break, have a little binge on them.
Yeah, there you go. Plus, what else? If you've got any, there's lots of information over on the website. If you want to go over there at neverastraightanswer.co.uk.
And we have merch.
Yeah, everything's available on the website. You can buy merch.
Love a coffee.
Yeah, you can help us out by supporting us at Patreon or buy me a coffee. Or just donate through the website. It's all good to us and all supports us and helps us do more and make better content going forward. We're hoping 2022 is going to be a good year for us.
Yes, we're hoping,
a bit of a congratulations to us both as well, because we just did 75,000 downloads.
Wow, yes.
Thank you, everyone who's listened.
Nice, thank you very
happy New Year little treat for us there.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week. Regular scheduled performances. And we'll catch you then. This has been the Never a Straight Answer podcast. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
And we'll see you then. Peace.